there's time and a place. I mean, the Shield Master's definitely up there.
Hello, beautiful people.
And we the doctor said if I just stop pulling there, it would go away.
I'll be back, guys.
No worries. Bash is an issue. He's going to be back.
Yeah, you go blind.
Yeah.
If the doctor will tell you if you keep doing that way, you go blind. Yeah. Welcome everyone to a Wednesday evening.
Palms would give it away.
Oh wow, and it starts. So we're going to wait for Trashman to come back. In the meantime, we're going to have a bit of a chat. We're having a bit of a D&D chat, talking about Shield Master and the benefits of running a shield as opposed to some of the more common fighter traits and feats and that, where they use dual wield or great weapon master and stuff like that. The shield is a very versatile weapon.
But you still have to get the shield blade. It was like a shield that was also a weapon.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I would assume so.
I think that was in 3rd edition, maybe in 2.
It wouldn't be too difficult to. I mean, even if even if it's not official.
Yeah, it didn't do easy to make. Of damage. I think it was like a D6 damage.
Well, if you guys look at the Sunday game where I had the giant with 2 dual shields, I made him specifically to have bits on the shield that would do piercing and slashing damage, so easily enough made.
Yeah, I think that the design was more of like it went over your hands, and the shield went up like your forearm.
Okay, so more like a smaller buckler.
The front part was a blade.
Oh yeah,
so
that makes sense.
Punch and then shield. Because
more of a buckler type design.
Yeah, kind of like
sense.
a buckler.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I had a fighter that was running one, and yeah, it really kicked ass because you had a huge AC, but at the same time you could.
I mean, I would have, if depending on the size of the shield, I probably would have reduced the AC to +1 instead of +2. For that very reason, because I mean, if you've got a much smaller shield to give you more mobility and give you a blade, then you're not going to have the full +2 AC with like a kite shield or something larger.
Was that 2.5 you were thinking, Adam?
It was 2 in between 2, 3.4, 3.5 maybe.
I think I was.
Might have been AD&D.
I still
might have been Spike Shield. Might have been called Spike.
Maybe. I've still got the book for Oriental Adventures of that, which is, I think it's that series, and we were using at that time. We were using that book because it had all the when we were in the teens, we had all the cool weapons like the samurai sword and the ninja stars.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I do remember it was an exotic weapon back when exotic weapons existed. So
it was still during the THACO days too, I think.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, but all I remember it was freaking fun to have one. You know, you have a shield on each arm, but you're still able to move and be dexterous. But at the same time, in battle, that's what you'd use, and it's just handy.
It's a handy dandy notebook.
Yep, you have the shielding, and then you can belt the shit out of someone and kill them.
Yeah,
sounds like fun. Let's make sure I have my timers set up before we get started. Working. Right, so guys, no ad hoc this evening. Roasted is working till late. He's doing like a 12-hour shift today, so he's doing a big one. So I will be playing ad hoc. I have a sheet up. We'll also be using if you look down below me here, you'll see a little dice rolly thing down there. D&D Beyond now has the ability, which see me roll an initiative for ad hoc, has the ability to log. We've got a game log of dice rolls, so using the dice roller on D&D Beyond, you'll be able to see the characters dice rolls on the screen, which is something new. Being able to window capture it and display it on screen, so that'll be kind of cool.
Yeah, the problem is I like to sit there and just roll things every now and then.
I know.
Now I can't do it.
Now everyone can see what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, no, I can't do it because you're going to go, why the hell are you attacking? I'm not attacking, I'm just fighting around.
But yeah, so I'm kind of hoping eventually, I mean, this is a cool way of doing it, but I'm kind of hoping that eventually D&D Beyond, if you guys, anyone from D&D Beyond is listening, give us a browser source. Give us a browser source for this thing so we can display it properly. without having to window capture. Because if we could get this from the back end through a browser source, it would be so much easier. But it would be a lot of fun. I need to make sure all my things are green, because for some reason, why is my Opera not over top of my taskbar? Let's see. Setting here. Setting. That should be sitting on top of the taskbar so I can see everything. And it ain't.
You know what's really funny?
What?
I just rolled an unarmed strike of damage. That's the first time I've done that.
It is the first time you've done it. Maybe just that. It's not showing me your roll on my screen. Showing it there, it's not showing it on that log. Interesting. Oh no, there it is. Wouldn't scroll all the way down. Ah, that's what it was. I got it.
The other thing they don't have with the auto roller is if you have a dagger, it only shows the dice if you're wielding it as an attack, as not as a throw. So if I want to throw my dagger, it's actually one less than what I would if I attack with it normally.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how you would solve that.
Thing is, I mean, if you know it is -1 from your roll, I mean, at the end of the day, obviously this is all still pretty new, so hopefully they will be able to solve a lot of those issues. Give you a different option to throw for throwing.
Just need to check box for throwing.
Yeah.
No, I want custom damage so that you can put all your things into it.
They can add your modifiers and bits and pieces. Yeah. That would be kind of cool. I mean, again, I think that sort of stuff will come eventually. Because
you can override it and if you open it and go to customize, you can override your to hit bonus and all that, your to hit. But you'd have to be changing it often if you're doing throwing and then hitting.
Exactly. But anywho, we should probably get a start ahead. That's all done there. We'll bring that one up there. So no, you guys are and still. Actually, that's one thing I wanted to talk about first. So Sirenscape has released a app which is free to download, and if I then in turn subscribe to their premium subscription, all of the players, if you guys download the app, which is free, and then I give you an invite link, not unlike we do with D&D Beyond, I can play any audio through the app and you guys will hear it on your PC. I'm not gonna do it just yet, but in the next few weeks or so, I'm going to get the 30-day free trial. I will give you guys a link. All you got to do is register to the Sirenscape, which is free, and download the app. And and then obviously follow the link and follow all the bits and pieces when I send you the link, and then just have the app open on D&D night. And as long as I have it open and I'm playing the sounds via the Sirenscape website, you guys will hear it on your PCs. You'll have full volume control for yourselves. The app has its own volume slider, so you can set the volume to however loud you want it. It just means that we'll all hear the same thing, and so will the chat. It looks pretty cool, and I know they've got Sirenscape has the Curse of Strahd specific sound set, so which is kind of cool. I'm definitely going to be looking to that in the future, so I will let you guys know when I'm going to do that, and if you're keen, awesome. If not, no drama. But anyhow, as a goal, let's get on with tonight's story. So, last we left off, the girls had managed to lure Nikolai and Karl Wachter away from their mother's home with the promise of wine and a good time. Once at the Blue Water Inn, the two girls and their companions sat down for drinks and conversation. The rest of you remained upstairs, plotting a way to get them into trouble. You had a bit of a plan, but after some conversation, Zadriel was not getting a good vibe of what was happening, or there was something going on with her. Eventually she tried to cast command on Carl, who in turn insulted Emilia, insulting her gingeriness, but it didn't quite work exactly as planned. However, asking Nikolai and Carl to wait in their room upstairs while the girls attended to some personal business was accepted. But once there, Zadriel couldn't leave without her armor, which roused Nikolai's suspicions. So Nikolai confronts Zadriel and gets a punch in the face for his troubles and is rendered unconscious. Carl, reacting to this, returns fire and socks Zadriel on the lip and attempts to flee the room. At this point, with the ruckus that was going on, the rest of you intervened, and Adok manages to scrape Carl's leg with a dart dipped in a particular poison that you guys found in the death house, which rendered him paralyzed from basically the knees down. So he was unable to move. Kaunos then took off downstairs to find the Valachian guard, and with the evidence at the scene and the reputation of the Wachters, they were promptly arrested and hauled off to the Valachian city jail, leaving you to continue on with your plan and heading out to Lady Wachters' house. Once there, a bit of scouting around, and you discovered the basement door was unlocked. Upon entering, you found an empty basement with several cots made up, simple cots, with a lot of footprints on the floor. Kaunos heading in to investigate, on touching the dirt floor in this basement, triggered several skeletal creatures to rise from the earth and attack. After a short battle, which seemed to not alert the remainder of the house, you dispatched them relatively easily. They were fairly simple creatures to kill, but with investigating further, you found that the footprints led to one of the walls, and it didn't take much to figure out that this was a secret door of some description, which was found, triggered. Swinging open, you found yourselves looking into a room with a large black pentagram etched on the floor. A chair at each of its 5 points, and all but one of the chairs sit robed individuals, which didn't seem too enthused by your intrusion, and initiated an attack. During the battle, Lady Wachter herself appears and joins the fray along with her demon minion, an imp, who did momentarily stave off her demise, but with Zadriel and Kaunos dealing some significant damage and Kaunos dealing the final blow, ending this battle. So now we rejoin our would-be heroes as you are still in this room with the pentagram and the chairs. It's a sort of 25 by 25 foot room. The bodies of these robed individuals scattered around the floor. The body of Lady Wachter herself also laying motionless. The imp has seemed to have reduced to some form of reddish brown ash where it fell. It is now over to the heroes as you discuss what to do next.
Well, does anybody know what bit me on the neck? This thing here? This
Pile of
normal
ash.
thing? No one saw it?
Something hit you on the neck, you say?
Yeah, like a creature or something.
Middle of the battle, DM. We didn't spot that, did we?
No one else would have seen the attack on Zadriel because it was done so while it was invisible. It didn't become visible until it put itself into harm's way to save Lady Wachter.
Okay. Sorry, Zadriel, I did not see what happened. Do you want me to have a look, or maybe someone who maybe understands medicine better than I?
I think you'll be fine. I guess we need to go through the house now and see if we can find any information.
Money.
Don't forget 1,000 gold.
And 1,000 gold. But the information would be good.
And the gold.
Yeah. Gold stuff to sell.
She was going to pay us 1,000 gold, right? So, got to be here somewhere.
The 1,000 gold, that I think we deserve that. Anything else, I think we should give to the city because they need it.
Yeah, but what are you on about? We deserve it all. I mean, we killed her, didn't we? I mean, shouldn't we be paid for that? We helped the Baron. We helped the Baron.
Yeah. Anything else, I think we should give to the Baron so that we don't end up in, I don't know, prison.
Haven't we? But I think we've already ended up in prison already. And he as he says that, he turns and looks at you, Zadriel. Gives you a bit of a look.
Let's not forget that the butler is still around here somewhere. The servant guy. Since we came to the basement.
Yeah, the one who's meant to be following us around, right?
Well, there's him and they had a servant last time that told us to take our shoes off. Remember him? That was
David.
Okay.
David was his name.
Right.
Maybe it'd be best if you guys gave me all the gold in general, just because when you guys get thrown in prison, I can bail you out.
We're not going to prison. No one knows we're here, do they? No one knows we're here.
No, I don't think anyone knows we're here. Mr. Stibb, what do you think our next move is? I mean, do we search the rest of the house?
Yeah, we search the rest of the house. Anything useful, we keep. Past that, I think we should try to help out the town a little bit. And then, yeah, that's it. I think that.
All right.
Maybe. Yeah, that sounds good.
Sounds good to me. Cardos will look for. So we're still in this basement area. Eh?
You're still. I would say you're still in the room with the pentagram.
Yeah.
There are several bodies lying around, obviously.
Check the dead bodies to see what they got.
I'll assist.
I think Adok could be probably already doing that.
Yeah.
Roll investigation, everybody. I'll get Adok to roll as well.
Look, dead bodies.
Adok rolled a dirty 20. An 11 from Zadriel.
12 from Carnos.
12 from Carnos.
I'm just waiting for my roller to appear.
Worries.
I'll be there.
No drama.
Yeah, 4. Actually, no, 6 for me.
6 for you.
Did my other stuff that doesn't count.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it is night time, so it will be 6 for you. Skathis with a 4 as well. Holy crap. Some low rolls here, some high ones. So Adok is already searching Lady Wachter, looking for the 1,000 gold. You can hear him muttering to himself, "Got to have the gold on you somewhere. Maybe it's upstairs." And he as he searches through, you do collectively across the bodies, you do find, obviously they've got the robes that they're wearing. There is maybe, I'd say probably about 50 or 60 gold between them in their various pockets. Holy crap, 26. On Lady Wachter, Fibblester researches after Adok, and you find a further 50 gold that she had stashed and was sewn into a small pocket inside her, looks like her waistcoat. There's a little extra pocket there that you managed to find. You also find a couple of simple daggers and not much else. Most of these people were casters. They didn't carry a lot of weaponry on them. By the looks of it, just the simple daggers look more like they were going to be used for some kind of ritual as opposed to defending themselves, as they were all slinging magic around. But that's about all you get, and apart from the clothes they're wearing, common clothing and things like that, but that's about all you get from them.
Would it be pertinent that I hold on to the coin with the rest of the coin? Is everyone, or do you want me to split it amongst you?
What coin?
Any coin we find. I'm not saying we found any now. I'm just saying when we find the gold.
Yeah, so Adok probably found between the lot of you would have found the 56. 50, the extra 50, Fibble would have found on his own.
Okay.
Can we search the room?
You've just searched the room.
That's what we did, yeah.
I thought we were searching the bodies.
That's the room. There's not much else in the room. You've got chairs and candles.
So we found chairs, candles, dead bodies, and
a little bit of
56 gold. And that was it.
This pentagram in the middle of the floor, is it Is it etched in the stone? It's not glowing.
No, it looks like it's painted on. It looks like it's been painted on with maybe possibly charcoal and a bit of water. It's not paint, but it looks like it's been drawn on maybe with charcoal and it's been mixed with water to make it sort of almost stain the concrete.
So this must be the book club that the brothers were talking about, Emilia. So if we backtrack up...
I don't see a lot of books.
No. I think it was a lie, fib. I think it was a fib.
Did you notice back there how my axe was able to totally destroy Lady Wachter? I thought that was quite impressive, I must say. It was a great piece of teamwork from you all there. But man, and there's blood all over the blade of the axe, I assume, because I tore it out of it. This made a rather big mess.
Yeah, it must be that holy symbol we put onto it. The holy symbol.
But that's what I was wondering. I mean, I've dealt a lot of damage with my axe before, but this will be the first time I've actually driven it straight through a person's chest in a bloody goo like that. Is it because the holy symbol... I'm looking at the star on the floor, and I'm thinking, is it because the holy symbol reacted with her, maybe?
Yeah, she seems like a very evil bitch, so probably did react with her, so yeah, that makes sense.
Good. Good to know. Thank you for that.
All right, you lot, enough talking. Let's go to search this house. I'm not going by myself, but let's go search where the good stuff is, upstairs somewhere.
Sneaky people in the front, because I am not so sneaky. I need to look out for this servant.
What sneaky people?
People that can be quieter than people in chainmail. No?
Are you
talking about adult?
So are you all going to try and sneak upstairs at this point?
I don't know if it's worth sneaking. We just made a huge noise down here by beating up these 5 people. And by beating up, I mean killing.
We didn't kill them. We made them sleep.
You haven't heard any other noise from upstairs, which would probably lead the more intelligent of the group to believe that the room or rooms down here are possibly soundproofed in some way. All the noise you guys just made, I mean, you had 2 relatively noisy battles, and no one apart from Lady Wachter came down, and she came in magically.
Yeah, when I was talking to those 2 men, Carl and the other one, I don't think they knew about this cult ritual place down here. So maybe the other people upstairs don't know we're here yet. Possibly.
Zedriel, if you keep giving them names, it'll be harder to kill them.
We don't have to kill them, do we?
Do you think they're going to put up with the death of their mother?
They don't know it was us, do they? I mean,
That is true.
yeah.
Fibble, any suggestions on what we should do with the bodies here? Actually, Emilia, you might have a suggestion.
Well, I need to do my rituals with them, so I'm effectively going to suggest that you guys go search the house, because last time I tried to do my rituals, you guys made fun of me, especially you, and she pointed a finger directly at Adok, right in his face.
He sort of says, he gives you a bit of a sheepish look and says, all right, I mean, I'm not one to judge. It was strange, okay? Apologise.
I'm a deeply religious person and I need to do this. So if you guys want to go search the house and find whatever you want to do, I'll clean up the mess down here.
All right. I have a shovel if you'd like to bury them. Is that what you're up to?
Or as I can move move earth, I don't particularly need a shovel.
That's fair.
However, if you would give me your flask of holy water, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, I can do that. I have just the one left though, so it will be one flask of holy water to you, and yeah, you do what you need. Here you go. And Karnas hands it to her. By the way, before we leave, Emma, Leah, I thank you for the healing you gave me during that battle. I appreciate what you did for me.
Emily is sort of going to bow slightly. It's okay. It's
Right,
all I can
time.
do.
Yeah, it's good. It was the right time for it. It really helped. Thank you.
So with that, you leave Emilia to deal with the bodies, and you guys head back into the basement area and ascend the staircase you believe goes back into the house. If you are attempting to be quiet, we'll need to make collective stealth rolls, please. That'll be a group. This will be a group stealth check, so everyone will have to roll.
Disadvantage for me.
Adok gets a 25. Fibber with a 21. Skathis with a 19.
9. We get disadvantage.
Disadvantage.
9.
So 9 for you.
16 at disadvantage.
And 6 at disadvantage for I.
So the higher rolls will even out the lowers. So I think we're averaging about 16, 17ish. So it's not too bad. So as you slowly ascend the staircase, it's a stone staircase which leads up into a sort of a darkened area. Let's see whereabouts we are in the map here. So you ascend up and indeed into an interior darkened hallway, and it leads up another set of stairs, and as you get to the top, it leads into a wall. Like there's nothing there. It's just a blank wall. You would assume it would go somewhere, but all you see is a blank wall in front of you.
Who's in front? Adok?
I would assume Adok's probably pushed forward, looking. He's really going after gold. He believes probably that everything in this house is pretty much dead, and the servants aren't going to amount to threat. So I'd say he would possibly push forward in this instance.
Stand above him and kind of touch the wall to see if I can push or pull anything in the brick or whatever.
Roll investigation. I'd say with advantage because Adok's probably doing something similar. It's not much better. With a 12, let's have a look here. So we're at G. Find it on my list of stuff. So you do see at the top of this stone wall is an iron torch sconce, but there's no torch in it, which is unusual. I mean, you think there would be a torch in here. And as you're sort of searching for what you think would be a secret lever, your hand whacks into this torch, and you feel it move, and it moves unnaturally to one side.
Gonna push that way.
Give it a nudge.
Yeah.
Doesn't take much. You hear it sort of grind. The metal grinds against the stone a little bit, sort of clunk, and then the stone pushes inward, moves forward, and swings up against the wall. And you are now looking into a dimly lit closet by the looks of it. There are coats hung up. You can see some shoes on the floor, and there's a doorway across the opposite side of the room. Holy shit. Who's ringing? Jesus Christ, trash man. And the alarm has sounded and all the town guards come rushing. No. But you are now faced with a small closet by the looks of it.
Excellent. We have found the closet.
So it looks like aprons and hooks, boots, and it looks like this might be the servant's closet. You want to come out of the closet, Fibble?
No. In a closet, I want to go out of the closet.
Yeah, so you want to come out of the closet?
Yes. But Adoc's going first, so Adoc's coming out of the closet.
Sounds like you're all coming out to me. But all of you move towards the doorway. You crack open the door just a touch to see what's beyond, and you find yourself at what looks like the rear of the Wachter house. Looks like you see there's a door which leads outside. It's got a little glass pane in there. It's just a basic vestibule with wooden doors at either end. Adoc sort of looks around, looks at you guys, and says, "Well, back a door."
From the last time we visited here, do we kind of get a feel for where we went to the living room before, right? So we
you're in a different part of the house, so this is unfamiliar.
Oh, okay.
So you probably wouldn't recognize this part. You know you're probably towards the rear of the house, so you're not sure which door would lead you back into the main part of the house. At this point, you do hear a couple of muffled voices coming from the left-hand side of where you're currently looking. So as you're standing in the doorway, as you're moving out of the doorway of the closet, the back door is directly across from you. To your right is a closed door, and to your left is a closed door. You do hear muffled voices coming from your left.
I look at the team and make the gesture that I hear people.
Does it sound like they're coming this way, or...?
It just sounds like talking, like a couple of just muffled voices talking behind the door.
Okay, what's the plan?
We kill them all. No, we don't do that.
Well, if that's where the gold is, yeah, we kill him. Kill them all.
I think we should deal with them first so we can look through everything in peace.
So we'll send Cedriel out. She's able to normally communicate with people's heads really well.
Maybe find out who it is and maybe see if you can send them away.
How about we listen first and find out it could be someone coming to visit, and the butler or whatever you want to call it is talking.
We're whispering, right? We're whispering.
Yes, we're doing that. Yes.
Yes, I get with stage whispering. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna open the door and go in like I'm casually saying hello.
So as you push through the door, as you casually walk through the door, you will walk through the door. Holy crap, I've unmuted myself. Hang on a minute. Crap, I've unmuted myself. Hang on a minute. Crap, I've unmuted myself. Hang on a minute. Crap, I've unmuted. Holy Jesus, sorry about that, guys. That was very echoey. So as you walk through the door, this is what you're faced with. You've got four beds lined up in a row, 4-foot lockers. Sitting on the first bed is a couple of Lady Wachters servants. There is 2 women, one youngish and one slightly older, and they appear to be in conversation. As you open the door, they sort of both turn and look with surprise. Yes, may I help you? What are you doing here at this hour? Does Lady Wachter know you're here?
Yep. I'm here for the meeting. I thought I'd come in and say hello.
He gives you a very confused look. Meeting?
Oh, no one else is supposed to know about it. It was between her and I, but I figured the servants would know. You don't know?
Lady Wachter isn't taking any visitors this evening.
Oh, that's because we're having a secret meeting.
And the older of the two gets up and says, "Well, I shall fetch Lady Wachter for you then. Please follow me." She turns to the young and says, "Amalthea, go about your business." And so she... Is it just you? Does anyone else follow in with her behind? Or is it just Zedriel?
Lady Wachter and I would rather just have a conversation. I was just going to see if you would like to go home now early. She came
This is my home. See, this room, this is where we sleep. We live here.
Oh, is it just 4 beds here, so just 4 of you?
Most days. We have, obviously, Ernest comes in and the butler lives off, out of the house, but... she's going to roll a quick insight check. She's a little suspicious.
Are we all hearing this out in the corridor? You
would hear it. And the reason she's suspicious, because as she stepped up to walk close to you, she did see through the door all the companions standing in the doorway.
Hearing the conversation while she's rolling, Carnos will just sort of stumble through the door and go, "Hey, Zadriel, I found Lady Wachter. She's waiting for us in one of the other rooms, if you would like."
Oh, thank you. There's no need. Never mind. What was your name again?
He still looks at both you very, very confused, very, very suspicious. But she is also, you can see she's a little nervous as well. Madalena, my name.
Oh, that is beautiful name.
She raises an eyebrow at you and says, "Flattery, my dear, will get you nowhere."
Oh, but facts will, huh? It's beautiful. I'm going to give you 5 gold for your troubles. I'm so sorry for bothering you. And then give her 5 gold.
She takes it and puts it into a pocket in her apron, but she still looks at you and... this is highly irregular. This is not like Lady Wachter to allow people to roam her home unaccompanied.
It's all right. She spotted us here, and Carnos flicks another gold coin because he can't handle seeing 5 gold pieces being handed to someone. And he says, "Come on, Zedriel," and he sort of pulls Zedriel out the door and shuts the door.
I'll get it back later.
And you, as you shut the door, she looks as she's going to be. She looks like she's following, like she's sort of quickens her pace and goes for the door as you close it. Are you going to hold it shut, or are you going to just... What are you doing specifically?
I sort of hold it for a second. I go, okay, guys, get ready for whatever's about to happen here. Knockout. I'm looking at Adok.
How long is? Wait a minute. How long does it last? How long does it last? One round. One round is a minute, right?
Yep.
I was going to cast Command Sleep.
You...
Maybe. It's a bad idea.
We'll wait to see what happens, because you're in the opposite room at this point. Karnos has closed the door, so you ready that. Adok turns and says, oh, I still got that dart. Hang on. And he readies a dart with the paralyzing stuff on it from earlier, and readies his blow dart, his blowgun. So this woman heads for the door, and you, Karnos, if you're holding the handle, you feel the handle turn as she's pursuing you.
Okay, I let it go once I see Adok's ready, and I back away.
And she opens the door and pushes through, says, excuse me, and Adok releases his blowgun. Let's see. I've got to try and... I don't know his sheet at all, so...
Did I just make eye contact and go, yes, as you're doing that?
Natural one.
He
fires, and it goes right past her head and just hits the door frame. Thunk. And she sort of looks at the dart, looks down at Adok, and he just sort of holds his blowgun and then shrugs and raises his eyebrows and grins.
Can I quickly pull the dart out of the wall and stick it in her leg?
Dexterity. Make a dexterity check.
This is dexterity, just regular. Okay.
Just a straight dex check.
14.
14? Ooh, let's roll a dice here. I would say that, yeah, as the dart misses, hits the door frame, you step forward, grab the dart, and jam it into her neck. And she sort of looks at you and goes, what? And then you watch a few seconds, and her eyes roll back in her head, and she slumps to the floor.
You had a mosquito.
And at that, you hear the footsteps come from the other room as the other Amalthea, the other younger maid, comes running in to see what all the fuss is about, sees Madalena lying on the floor, and just gasps. And you see her turn and try and run, head back into the other room.
Sleep.
What are you doing?
Sleep.
Command sleep?
Yep. Wisdom save.
What's the save? Wisdom save? Yep. Oh my god, guys.
I'm panicking.
Give me 1 second. I've got to see what the commoner's save is. Wisdom. He rolled a 7, so that would be a failure. So she drops to the ground, hitting her head on the bed as she falls, and she hit it quite hard. She was running, so as she fell forward, and you hear an almighty thunk as head meets wood as she hits the corner post of the bed, and then slumps to the floor. A few seconds later, you start to see a crimson pool start to expand out from under her head.
Zadriel, this has gone a little south.
I want to go check her.
Roll a medicine check.
Karnos will pick up the other girl from the ground and lay her on one of the beds.
Where am I?
You're in the same room with Fibble, with Adok. You guys are sort of sitting in this, still in this sort of back doorway type thing.
And this is happening all
This has all happened sort of right now.
Just outside the door?
So in the doorway and outside the doorway, yeah. The Madalena has fallen to the paralyzing dart in the doorway, and Amanthea has run back into the servants' room away from you, and you would have probably not have seen her hit her head. You definitely would have heard it from your position. You hear Adok go as he probably has peered through and seen what's going on.
I'm going to push past Adok and go, are we killing these guys too, or or not?
No, Fable, I didn't want to hurt this
No.
offense.
And your medicine check is 14. That was a dex check that I've got here.
I got a medicine check too for 14.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
cool.
bypass this whole medicine check and cast Healing Word on the girl, and she gets 7 points of healing, which I dare say would stop her from bleeding out at least.
We will see in just one moment. Just hold that thought. As Zadriel bends down to check this woman as she's fallen and quite hit her head quite severely. She has no pulse. Doesn't appear to be breathing. You can't feel a breath as you hold your hand or even your sword or your shield under her nose to see if you can get any kind of mist. But at that point, Pibble enters the room and releases his healing word, and with that you see a flicker of movement in her eyes as she doesn't regain consciousness, but you feel that breath. Very shallow, but it's there.
Okay.
So wait a minute. We were promised this place, right? Was that a joke? Well, I can't remember. The Baron said if she happened to disappear, her property may fall in the hands of some people that are helping the town out.
I don't remember him saying that. But if you heard it, if you remember that, then maybe it happened.
We may be able to barter something like that, Mr. Stibb, but what is your point?
Well, I'm just saying, like, are we killing these guys because
We are not.
they know that we killed their master?
Hold on, horses. Zadriel, can you detect if they are of another world? Are they slaves to Lady Wachter, or are they slaves to Strahd?
I'll divine sense, but I don't think that's what you want. I'll do a divine sense.
You're going to divine sense? So divine sense within 60 feet, searching for undead fail fiends. You concentrate on the evil that is undead and fiendish, any fey beings. You don't seem to find any, you don't have anything in this particular instance. Nothing close seems to give off that kind of energy, except for a faint signature in the basement.
Okay, well, they seem to be okay as far as fiend or undead or anything like that. So, but I don't. Do we tie them up while we look to the house and then come back for them, or?
I do not know. Maybe.
Is there any other way out of that room?
There are two doors. The door you've walked in and a door to your immediate left as you come in.
Karnos lays both the girls on the bed.
Yep.
He looks for a chamber pot. He slides it over to the middle of the room and he says, "Everyone out." And hopefully as they're moving out, he gets 2 bottles of beer from his pack. He pops the lids and he starts pouring beer on the girl's shirt. And then he puts a half a bottle in her hand on the bed. Then he pours some beer by the floor where the blood is.
Yeah.
And he pours it and he puts the bottle in the other girl's hand. And he's like, "Right, now it looks like they had a really good night and are fucked up, and anything they remember will be weird as not believed. They're boozed to the max. This room stinks of beer. Let's get out of here."
So which way are you going? Is there any response to that?
No, I get it, because that may work.
I'm wondering if we should sprinkle some meat pie across their chest or something, like they were hallucinating.
I got you. And pulls out a crusty old pastry from the windmill, breaks it in half, and just crumples it up over the Magdalena's chest a little bit and a little bit across the floor, and leaves a piece of the pie on the nightstand.
Now we are good.
All right.
All right.
Everything is, yeah.
And with that, we're going to momentarily switch to Emilia. You're in the basement. The room with the pentagram on the floor is cobblestone, so you will not be able to do much with the floor in there, but the floor in the basement area itself is earth. So what are you specifically doing while, as your companions have left you downstairs by yourself?
When Emilia's alone in the room, she's going to sort of have a confused look, and then she's going to go kneel next to Lady Wachter.
Yep.
She's going to take her hand and take Lady Wachter's hand in her hand.
Yep.
And press it against her forehead. Basically kneel down next to her so her knees are at her waist.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to sort of say, Mum, how did this happen to you? And she's going to burst into tears.
Okay.
And I'm going to leave you there at that. Come back to me later.
No problem. So, back upstairs, as the rest of you are dealing with your current situation, you have a choice of doorways. Oh, the doorway you just came in, and a doorway down over here at the bottom of the bottom right of that picture. So there is another doorway there which is also closed.
All right, Scafus, you're the door guy. Which way?
I thought Fibble was the door guy or Adok.
Oh, wrong game. Fibble. Adok, one of you. What door are you going in?
Adok sort of looks at you, just shrugs, and I don't fucking know.
Okay, Zadriel picks the door going to the other side of the room.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Wait on, Zadriel, before you do.
Yeah.
Let's aim to not try and kill anybody else, eh?
I wasn't trying to kill anyone.
And Carlos turns to Fibble and goes, she's a good leader, but sometimes her methods are a little unsound.
So.
Do I hear you?
I wasn't trying to be secretive about it. I was keeping my voice down from the house, but
yeah, I would say you probably did hear it if he wasn't trying to be secretive.
I will refrain.
So, as you open this door, it's not locked. As you swing it open, you see a familiar room. You walk into this little room right here, which is where you met Lady Wachter. You sat at these couches while she propositioned you for murdering the Baron. The dining table at the opposite end is where Nikolai and Carl were seated eating a meal as you guys sat and conversed. So it is familiar to you. There's no one here by the looks of it. Doesn't look like there's anyone here. There's a fire in the fireplace. It's warm, so it's dimly lit. A couple of chandelier hanging from the roof with candles, but it is empty.
Okay, no drawers or anything to go through. Just looks
doesn't really look like it. There's a pile of firewood, paintings on the walls. There is the fireplace. Above the fireplace is a portrait of a nobleman sporting a smirk, but a very obvious broken nose. A tangle of greying hair at his temples, and several smaller portraits hang on the north wall, which is to your immediate right as you walked in the room. And the portraits look like there's one there that looks like a younger Nikolai, younger Carl, and the other one looks like it's Lady Wachter herself.
All right, Adok, go for it.
Go for what?
Start searching.
Well, she ain't gonna hide the gold in here, is she? I mean, you see anywhere to hide gold? It's a dining room. Ooh, food. Hang on. And he scuttles over to the table, and crawls up on one of the chairs and starts looking across the table, looking for food. And there's a couple of plates here. Looks like there's a half-eaten chicken and some veg. He starts digging in.
Is this the only way in? Is this a dead end?
There are two other doors leading from this room. There is the door that you know leads you into the hall stairwell area, which will lead you to the upstairs, and there is another door on the other side of this room, which you're not sure where that goes.
I want to go peek in the other door that I don't know.
Okay, so you're gonna walk through there. Room K. So, as you push through the door, you find yourself in this room, which looks like it's a den of sorts. There's a couple of comfortable chairs, wood paneling, embroidered rugs, colourful furnishings, a blazing fire still, which looks like it backs onto the other fire in the other room. It's not too bad. Mounted above the mantel is an elk's head. Across from the hearth, tall slender windows look out over gardens which look to be quite dead.
I'm gonna investigate for anything, any papers, anything suspicious looking.
Okay, so the one thing you do notice is, as you all I'm assuming you all follow in and enter into this room, a little bit of movement in one of the dark corners, and stepping out from the shadow is your friend, Ernest. A little bit of a concerned look on his face when he sees who's just walked into this room.
That's the guy who follows us, right?
That is Lady Wachter's spy or messenger, as he has named himself a messenger. He looks at you all. You can see that he's worried, and he's got his hand on his dagger, and he's sort of looking at, sort of not approaching, but he's very defensive.
Hello.
What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. You did not accept the lady's request.
Well, I mean, we're back to talk to her. What are you doing here?
I live here.
Oh,
You
okay,
do
nice.
not. And he draws his dagger. Doesn't attack, but you can see that he's ready in case something happens.
Carnos awaiting
What
instructions.
do you know of Lady Wachter and what she does?
Why would we be telling you?
Because I know what Lady Wachter does, and if
Oh.
you don't know, then you should not be here.
Well, we do know.
Then tell me what you know.
You have a very suspicious book club in the basement.
Yes, quite.
The book club is over.
I tell you what. I will leave and leave you to deal with the book club. And if you need a reliable messenger, you can find me north of town.
You just turn on Lady Wachter.
I work for the highest bidder. You pay well, I do what you ask. I am not loyal to anyone. I'm loyal to myself. If you are here to deal with Lady Wachter, then that is my cue to exit. And he sheathes his dagger.
Do you know where we can find anything special of significance in her house?
Yes, of course. This room contains a few things. And with that, Adok comes in the room. What? 1,000 gold? And he sort of smirks a bit and he goes, no, that would be upstairs. Let's make a deal. You let me take this, and he walks over to the desk and picks up a pair of candelabra, and puts them into his bag. He says, I will take this and I will leave you to it, and you can have this. And he pulls out a key. This will give you what you are looking for.
I look
Deal
at
or no
everyone.
deal?
If you break our deal and you tell anyone, I will come for you. We will all come for you.
As long as you prosper my palm with gold and silver, I am at your service. And he bows quite deeply.
Karnos flicks him 4 gold right there.
And he catches it quite deftly, puts it into his pocket, and bows again and holds out the key. Who's taking the key?
I will.
Adok pushes forward past you and snatches the key out of his hand. 1,000 gold. Where is it? Upstairs? Right. I'm off. And he turns and scoots out the door. And with that, Ernest bows again with respect and sidles around the room, keeping a reasonable distance between you all, and waits for you to shift away from the door before exiting the door and eventually exiting the house, if you allow him to.
Karnos will be standing in front of the door, and as he sort of comes to the door, Karnos will step aside slowly, but as he moves through the door, Karnos says, I will be watching you.
And he turns back at you, gives you a raised eyebrow and says, and I will be watching you. Watching me.
Watching you. Watching me.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
reciprocates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
okay.
he disappears. You definitely, with that whole conversation and interaction, you get the impression that he is definitely not loyal to anyone but himself. If you pay him, he will do whatever you want. Unless someone pays him more. So, you might want to you get, I mean, Zadriel would definitely be intelligent enough to treat that one with kid gloves. Do you wish to search the rest of this room before heading upstairs to follow Adok?
Yeah.
I rolled a nat 20 on my investigation when we saw him. So, is there anything? He said there was something in this room.
He did indeed. So, as you continue searching this room with the natural 20, better put that up there. You do find several things. You find a goblet, a golden goblet with a few small gems which don't look a little bit suspiciously like rubies. 4 or 5 little rubies around the top of it. You're not sure how much it's worth, but it looks like it'd be worth a reasonable amount of gold. There is also a crystal wine decanter on the sideboard where Ernest retrieved the candelabras from. It looks like very fine crystal indeed, definitely worth something. And there's a bronze urn with frolicking children painted on its sides, which also looks like it's got gold inlay and a couple of small diamonds set into it as well. As far as paperwork and anything like that, nothing really stands out in this room, apart from those few items.
Is there any alcohol in the wine decanter?
No, it is empty.
Wow.
It looks like it probably hasn't been used for a little while.
I take the wine decanter for myself.
Whoever's bagging the items, put them into your backpack. I mean, you guys can deal with that in RP later.
Karnos will not, so I've written them down, but someone will have to bag them. Karnos does not take single items.
Of course not. So with that, Adok is scarpered. You hear his little footprints as he disappears across the dining hall and is headed for the stairs. Do you eventually follow?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't trust the little bastard.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. So as you guys follow, eventually you do catch up to him. You enter back into what would have been the entrance hallway foyer area. The doors are open. You can see the front door where you came through the first time, and up to your immediate left is a wooden staircase which leads up to like a balcony or foot of a stairs with like a landing at the top. The staircase is about 15 feet up to the upstairs hall. Once there, you find yourselves, when I change the map here, I can see where you're at. You find yourselves in area I. No, area L. This is you now find yourselves in the upstairs hallway. The hallway with a window at each end wraps around a staircase railing, framed in portraits and mirrors festooned on the walls. Surrounding you and judging looks and dark reflections. You hear something scratching at one of the many doors, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 doors that you can see, which I will show you what you are currently looking at. I do believe I have this one available for you as well. So we'll just bring it up here. You guys have come to the top of the stairwell here. Adok is sort of there looking around trying to figure out which door to go to first. There is a door here, there's a small door here, and several a double door and a couple of single doors on this side as well. So you do hear at one of the doors. You're not sure what it is. You're not sure which door it's coming from, but it's just every now and again a scratch, almost like a cat would scratch at a door. It's kind of weird.
I want to go towards the scratching and tap back on the door.
Roll a perception check to see if you can determine which door it is coming from.
13.
Stand there for a moment. Adok's sort of mumbling to himself. You tell him to shut up as he sort of bites his lip, and sort of everyone quietens down and focus. You stand there for a few moments and you listen, and it comes again, and you sort of catch it, and it seems to be coming from across the hall, a single doorway. You head towards the doorway. What do you do once you get to it? It's a single door, the first single door on this part of the map here.
I want to see if I can see if it's like a cat sized, and if it is a scratch where I hear the scratching out on the door back, to see what happens.
It is not a cat size, it's a full size door.
No, I mean like the sound.
Yeah, the scratching.
Lower, high.
Yeah, the scratching sounds like it's coming from low on the door, definitely. And do you scratch back?
Yep.
You sort of scratch back at the bottom of the door, and you hear meow come from inside.
Open the door.
Door is locked as you try and open it.
Feeble. Key.
Adok's got the key.
Adok, key.
Meow.
Zadriel, do you still have your detection of the fiendish beasts and whatever up?
I can do it again, but it's 60 feet all the way around, so it should have gone up too.
Oh, okay.
So Adok moves over and reluctantly hands you the key.
Karnos pulls out his shield and axe.
Do you attempt to unlock the door with the key?
Yes.
As you present the key to the lock, this key does not fit this lock. And Nodok says, oh, can I have a bat? Can I have a bat? Please.
Hunchback the key.
And then I'm going to go up to it and with a apparently very shit roll, not unlock the door.
What was your roll?
6.
Yeah, that's a very shit roll. Yeah, Fibble said maybe it's because you didn't get lifted up. You were trying to reach and said, look, you couldn't really see it, and you didn't quite make it. The Addoc says, lift me up, I'll give it a go.
I'm gonna lift up Addoc.
And he attempts, and with a 23, looks at Fibblestib, doesn't even look at the lock, he looks at you, Fibble, and goes, click. And it just gives you a wink, and as Zadriel puts him back down, puts him back down again.
Opening the door.
So as you open the door, this is what you are greeted with. You see a woman in dirty, soiled gown, almost rags. As you open the door, scooches under the bed and hisses and says, Kitty can't come out to play. Kitty does not know who you are.
Is your name Kitty?
And she hisses again. And she stays under the bed. She won't come. She doesn't look like she's going to come anywhere near you. She looks. Her hair's a mess. Looks like she hasn't bathed in a while. She's got long fingernails. And then she says once again, "Little Kitty doesn't know you. Little Kitty doesn't like the smell of you."
Carlos looks to the team and he looks at Zadriel and he says, "May I?"
Yes.
Yeah, you're great with girls.
Yeah.
And he puts his shield and axe back on his pack sides and he enters the room closer to the bed. He kneels down, not too close to the bed, just so he can see her. Gets as prone as he can to look at her under the bed. And he says, "Excuse me, you are free. We have rid this house of its horrors. If there's anything you would like, food, drink, let us know. We can help you."
About how close to her are you, roughly, would you say?
I would be probably 5 foot from the bed. Like, I would come in the door and move
So,
closer to the bed.
You reckon within arm's reach, you reckon?
I would say, yeah, I'm trying to be as
Okay.
nice as I can, yeah.
So as you get down prone on her level, she seems to relax a little bit. The moment you speak, you see her tense up and then she lashes out and just attacks your face.
Yeah.
And just leaves 2 big scratch marks across your cheek. Just so quick, you didn't even see it coming.
Damage?
No damage, just superficial.
Okay.
So it would have been enough to startle you, and it would have hurt a little bit. I mean, for all intents and purposes, you were just scratched by a cat.
Yep.
So
Carlos bears it because it didn't do him any real damage. He can see she's upset. He sort of moves his head, glances back at the team, and then carries on. He says, "Are you hungry, young lady?"
Little kitty, hungry?
Does someone have some food they can share with little kitty? And he looks back at his team.
Addoc standing there shaking his head.
I'm looking at the bed and saying, I'm gonna say, who did this to you? Are you under some kind of book club kind of spell, or?
She just repeats again, little kitty doesn't know you, over, and little kitty doesn't like the smell of you, and hissing just over and over. You can tell that she's probably not really coherent at this point. real basic grasp of common, and you can tell that you're not sure what's wrong with her, but she's definitely mad. Like, she's not all there from what you can tell. You're not entirely sure why, but she's definitely not there.
I don't think I have any. I'm going to take a ration and kind of wave it so she's focusing on it, and then lay on hands 5 points to cure a disease or poison. I don't think that'll work, but maybe make her feel better.
As you use the ration to sort of take her attention for a moment, I need you to roll a persuasion check for me, just briefly. And then I will need, possibly, depending on that, I'll need you to make a dex save.
As she's doing that, it kind of sort of gives her the hand motion to Zadriel to lay down on the ground, get her to level.
And then kneel down and go, here, kitty. I got a 22 persuasion.
22, and she follows the food as you manage to reach out and sort of touch her quickly on the shoulder as you cast the lay on hands. Doesn't seem to do much. And the moment you touch her, she recoils and hisses and shrinks back further towards the wall away from you guys. Not out from, she's staying under the bed, but she's trying to distance herself from you as far as she can.
I don't know about you guys, but I think we've exhausted anything here. She's unfortunately too traumatized.
Yes, I don't have anything I can do for her, I don't think.
Phil, do you have anything that might help? Or even you, Skathis?
If you want to rack your brain to see if you might know of anything, Zadriel, you can roll a intelligence or history.
If only Emilia were here, she could probably do something with this young lady.
Hey, she could turn into a cat and they could have a cat-to-cat conversation.
14.
14? With a 14, just looking at her and just studying her for a few moments, she doesn't seem physically hurt. I mean, she's disheveled, definitely. She's definitely probably a little malnourished. But you're pretty certain that what may be afflicting her is not natural. It doesn't seem like a natural madness to you.
Somebody had to have done this to her, I think. Why keep one person in here? She must be of some significance, and the servants to keep feeding her and things like that. Maybe we should get Emilia. Maybe she has a spell or something to help. You are muted.
Sorry, I was just agreeing. It might be a good idea.
Adok's sort of looking sideways at her and says, he's going to roll a intelligence as well. With a dirty 20. I broke it. Damn it. Broke my stuff. Should have rolled it again. Crap. I don't know what did I broke it. Anywho, Adok sort of says, "You're a paladin, right?"
Mm-hmm.
You think, you have like things to restore people, like if they've been like turned to stone or something, like do you have something that can do that sort of type of thing?
I have a lesser one. I guess
Yeah, Adok he says it might work, but I'm not sure. You could give it a go.
I'll cast it on her. See what happens.
As you cast Lesser Restoration, for a moment, brief moment, you see clarity come to her eyes, but only for a moment, and then that madness comes back. After casting it and sort of seeing the reaction, you're pretty certain it would work, but it is just not powerful enough. This particular version of the spell is just not powerful enough to fully restore what is being lost.
Okay, well, assuming you guys saw that in her eyes for a moment, maybe Emilia has a greater version of this, or we can leave her here and get help later.
I'll go down and get Emilia.
Or maybe the church can help her.
That's true.
Yeah, that father fella, what's his name? Lucian.
Ted.
I don't think it was Ted. Pretty sure it was Lucian, something like that. Anyway, he might be able to help. I mean, we probably should leave it here though. I think it'd be safer for her, and probably safer for us. And we just tell them about it later.
Okay, I'm gonna go in the hallway.
Does everyone leave the room?
Yes.
Adok will close the door behind and actually relock it as a safety precaution, which will be easily done with the roll that he did to unlock it. I'm quite sure he's able to relock it without too many hassles. With that, we're going to switch briefly back over to Emilia in the basement before we take a short break. So Emilia, you have wept over Lady Wachters' body. What are you doing now?
So after about 5 or 10 minutes of basically crying, you're going to shake yourself together. She's going to use Lady Wachters' blood to perform her ritual, and she's going to perform it on all of the bodies in the basement. Her previous ritual. She's going to take Carnus's bottle of holy water and place it in the circle with the cap off. With the cap off, and she's going to take her thing of holy water that she had and put that in the circle as well with the cap off, the one that Carnus tried to throw at her.
Okay.
And she's going to take her hand and put it in Lady Wachters' blood, and around the edge of the circle she's going to put 7 handprints around the edge, and then wipe 2 lines across the middle, basically creating her star sign sigil that she has on her robes across the portal.
No problem.
And she's going to kneel at one end of the pentagram, and she's going to use shape water, and she's going to draw the holy water out of one flask, and which is going to go into the other flask and then draw out.
Yep.
So it's and then it's going to basically turn into a snake-like thing and basically loop around the circle that is above the pentagram. So basically create a circle of holy water around the pentagram.
Yep.
And then make it take the same shape as the pentagram above it on the ground. It's going to be fairly thin by that point because of the lack of water.
Definitely.
And she's going to say, by the light of Saloon, I close this demonic contraction. And she's going to put her hand on the ground, and the water is going to fall down onto the pentagram, and it's going to turn to ice along the lines of the charcoal.
Okay.
And basically crystallize.
No problem.
And she'll be kneeling at the base of that when whoever comes back, whenever.
Okay. So, that is your ritual complete. Doesn't seem to do anything that you can tell. Not entirely sure whether this portal had any power at all, or this pentagram had any power, but you completed your ritual anyway, to your belief specifications. And Scathus, were you still going to head downstairs and get Emilia even after discussion of the group? No? Okay, so Emilia, you remain at this point in the basement by yourself. And the group has left that particular bedroom, and you have 3 or 4 other rooms on this level to check. But we will take a short break before we come back to that, so bear with us, guys. Welcome, chat. We are just going to take a short 5-minute break, and we'll be back very shortly. We're going to grab a drink and do the outhouse thing. We'll return, we'll have a brief chat to the chat when we come back, and then we'll get back into our story. But welcome, everybody. Good to see you all. Be right back. And I'm back, ladies and germs. Welcome everybody. My name is Evildoer, and we are playing some Curse of Strahd on Wednesday night. We do this every Wednesday night. We also play our homebrew game on Sunday nights, same time, 7:30 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time. So I'm glad you guys come hang out with us. Even if it is briefly, it is good to see everybody. You can also catch any shows you have missed on the YouTube's !YT in the chat. We'll give you the YouTube details. And you can come hang out with us every Wednesday and Sunday. Also do some gaming streams occasionally. We're doing a bit of Ark and some Warcraft at the moment. And occasionally some Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. So, we got here. So you guys are back out in the hallway. Bring that one back up. Well, everything seems to be working well tonight, so that's good. No dramas so far. Frost. Who have we got in the chat this evening? A little bit light this evening. We normally have a few more, but we've got.
It is.
We've got a few there. We've got a lot of lurkers. All good. Moody's there lurking. Magic. We got my mate Chopsticks. I think I know who that is. There's a few people lurking there tonight, so that's all good. Lurkers need love too. Sometimes, like even Critical Role, I'll chuck Critical Role on the background and I'll wander around the house doing stuff. Don't call them out, Nutty. Jesus. We don't call out lurkers like that. I think it's him, but I'm not sure.
This is Nutty, though.
This is Nutty. But all lurkers are welcome, as everybody else. You don't have to be chatting to enjoy this session. It is D&D. You can put it on the background and just hang out and listen to us talk shit. He's not lurking, and nah, he was boy squared. I don't understand how he's not lurking if the Chopsticks is in there and not chatting. So that pretty sure.
Was chatting.
Was he chatting? Haven't seen him.
Kill her with a hammer.
Or was that Mr. Chopsticks, or was that North whatever?
Chopsticks.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and I said yeah to the head 12 times.
Well, that kind of works. Well, they're lurking now, buddy. Saying. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Shut up. Go back to your World of Warcraft. And your friend Kaz in my Discord. Oh, should I say your Discord?
Yeah, their Discord now.
They use it more often than I do.
You're in our one more.
I know.
Anymore.
Well, it's good. You guys are always there playing Ark, so I got to join you. Otherwise, I miss out. So no point in being in two separate Discords.
So almost killed myself by going to get my chapstick and grabbing my pink blowtorch lighter.
Oh wow!
Held it up and I was like, no.
That could have been dangerous. Some real hot lips.
I burn my lips. It's not nice.
Yeah, it's not fun.
I didn't do it with a blowtorch trapstick though. That didn't. Did it with a cheese sausage.
It's a new defense weapon, you know, the blowtorch chapstick. Yeah.
Makes your lips hot.
It's like something out of bloody 007. So today, 007, we have your new device. It's a chapstick, but it's not just a chapstick. Don't aim it at your own lips. It's a blowtorch.
Melt the face off your own enemies. For yourself.
Definitely.
Laser chopstick. Chapstick.
Yeah, lightsaber chapstick.
Now,
Anywho.
Mr. Bond, I shall dissect you with your own laser chapstick.
All right, guys, let's get back into the story. So, we will get back to the story at hand. We will rejoin the story now with Emilia once again. As Skatus hasn't come down to get you, Emilia. So...
Well, they pretty much sorted it out upstairs. So
yeah. So, with your ritual complete, it is back to you. What are you doing?
Did she bury anyone?
I don't think she's done any of that yet.
Oh.
She's basically, once a few minutes after the ritual on the circle's done, she's basically going to evaporate the holy water.
Yep.
And then she's going to drag all the people into the other room with the dirt floor and basically plop them into a hole.
Kind of figured you would. I mean, mold earth until you can bury the lot of them. And you would be able to do so and probably leave very little trace of anything as well. Which, I mean, the disturbed dirt would be fresh if someone was to investigate, but who knows how long it'll be before that happens.
And
so you're pretty certain that your job's done. Pretty good.
While she's doing that, she's going to use mold earth to create a bar on the end of her staff, and she's going to sweep all the remains of the skeletons into the hole as well.
Okay, well done. She made herself a broom. Well done. And with that, are you going to head upstairs to try and find your companions?
Yeah, when she's done that, she'll head upstairs to find the other.
So I'll get you to roll a perception check as you head up to see if you can... Well, I would imagine you'd probably search around the ground floor first. You would come up into the same room, the cloak room. You would end up by the back door. You would see the open doors, so I would assume that you would travel through the open doors. You would eventually come across the unconscious bodies of two female servants, one looking a little bloody, the strong stench of beer, alcohol coming from the room, pie crumbs and a mouldy looking pie on beside the bed. What you make of that is up to you.
Oh, I have a fair idea that she'll know what that is.
I think she'd get an idea that something's gone horribly wrong and the team have dealt with it in a unique way.
Especially the fact that the pie is probably covered in mold by this.
It certainly is. You follow then into the parlour where you had, I don't think, did you come to meet Lady Wachter? I think you all did. So you would recognise this area, and you see as you walk through, you'll see the first open door you come to will be the door that leads upstairs to the second floor. And by this point, you probably would hear them walking around upstairs, and because they'd be sort of walking and talking. You probably heard, kind of the hissing maybe at that point, and then you've eventually made it upstairs. As you ascend the staircase to this landing, you'll probably find your friends as they've left this room, relocked the door, so you probably just join them after that fact, as they're getting ready to discuss which door they want to check next. So at this point, Emilia ascends the staircase to rejoin you guys.
Oh, Emilia, do you have something like a crater restoration or a curse removal or something like that you know?
I have a lesser restoration.
No, I tried that. That didn't work. Oh well. What door do we want to go? Anyone?
Emilia, do you have a mind wiping spell?
No, but that'd be very handy.
Yeah, we had an issue with a couple of servants downstairs.
Are you the two drunk ones?
That's it. The two drunk ones. That's right. Yeah. They got drunk. One of them tripped over the bedpan and fell into a mouldy pie. I'm not really sure why.
Yeah, I saw the mouldy pie there, and I thought, oh yeah, my friends have been here. Well, at least Addoc has.
Addoc sort of sniggers from the background. He's sort of looking around trying to figure out which door is going to hide the 1,000 gold. So, you've chose this door here, which was the middle door. You have a double door just up here, another single door here, another single door down here, here, and here.
I'll start at the top of the stairs and work my way down. I think I'll go back to the top.
Back to the top of the stairs. First room. That will be this room. Bring it up. This one. So as you peer into this room, which is not locked, description of the room, it is M. So this looks like, just looking at the room and even the smell from the room, it's not dirty, but it smells very manly. This bedroom contains nothing out of the ordinary: a neatly made bed, a table with an oil lamp, a handsome wooden chest, and a slender wardrobe, and a window box with drapes. You get the impression that this is probably one of the boys' room, Nikolai's or Carl's.
I kind of want to look through and see if there's any indication that they knew what their mother was doing.
Okay,
Like
roll investigation.
I'll assist.
15.
Can't assist every time, Trash.
I'm assisting. 16.
I'm gonna say no, you can't assist at this. I mean, anyway, it's a small room. You don't really need to help to look into a box. It's not
Scared
difficult.
as you're hovering.
So even with a 15, you'll turn the room. You'll go through the wardrobe. You'll go through the drawers. You go through the little footlock. It's nothing's locked, and you come to the conclusion just for what you're finding. It's undeterminate. You can't really tell whether that they would have known or not. It doesn't look like it. There's nothing here to indicate that they knew or that they were involved, but you can't be 100% certain. Escape this to helicopter period.
I'm going to close this room and go to the next one.
So the next one in from where you are, on the same side or on opposite side of the hallway?
I'll go systematically so I don't miss anything. So whichever's closer.
Okay, so you'll go to the next, to the double doors. B. Room P. So as you enter this room, you all sort of enter into it, and you find the library. This room is crawling with cats. Bookshelves hug the walls, but most of the shelves are bare. Old furnishings include a desk, chair, and table, wine cabinet. The room has an irregular shape, and none of its angles seem quite right, as though the shifting of the house has set the whole place on edge. This feels odd. There are 8 cats that you can sort of see roaming this room. They all look fairly feral. If you get close enough to one, they hiss and they scarper up a bookcase and up onto the top, sort of get out of your way.
Did you move into the rooms, Edriel?
Yeah.
What is all your guys' passive wisdoms, please? Passive perception, sorry.
11.
11?
13.
Anyone who's walking into the room, I need your passives. So,
And 10.
anyone higher than a 10 will notice, put it that way.
Okay.
So as you guys walk into this room, and so that the smell will probably get you too. The smell of cat urine is quite strong. The cat poop as well around the place. It looks like these cats have probably been closed in here for quite some time. It is pretty foul. But all of you, I would imagine, notice that only one of the cats is wearing a collar, and around this On this collar is a small key.
Oh, do you guys see that? I'm gonna grab the key before Adok does.
Yeah, Adok, are you hungry?
Oh, I did eat downstairs, but cats are pretty tasty.
Yeah, these ones look like your type of food.
Pretty whiffy in here, though.
I agree. Fibble, have you got something that can quickly destroy cats?
Oh, I think I do.
Cats
Yeah,
are
is it
little
like a?
souls.
Well, they're what now?
They're little souls too. You can't just.
I suppose you could use them for boots, yes, but I was more thinking, like, Fibble, you might have like a blade machine with like 4 wheels. You could just roll over them, maybe.
No, but if you give me enough time, I will.
Yeah, how much time do you need?
Maybe a week.
Oh, right.
We just let the cats go. And then
We could just open the door and just let them out. I mean,
We want that cat that's got the key, don't we?
I'm taking it.
well, yeah. I can help with that. And Adok looks around, spies the cat with the key, and says, "Stand back," and casts Fireball. And hits it with an 8, and he does hit it, believe it or not.
Be careful, Adok. This house is made of wood.
And
these books.
And the cat is hit with a fireball, goes meow, and then it just goes poof, in a ball of flame, and drops dead, smouldering on the floor. Walks over, looks at it, grabs the key, and goes, "Got the key."
Yes, and you also created one hot pussy. It doesn't really need to go down this way.
It looked like it was dying anyway. I mean, these cats look malnourished. They look sickly. I mean, they're all covered. You can tell they're probably covered in fleas. They're not well looked after.
Mm.
Is this related to the girl that thinks she's a kitty cat, maybe? What if there are people?
Yeah, that's
Adok!
Too late now.
Do we open the windows and let them out?
Well, the door's open. You can just shoo them out the door.
Yeah, but it's pretty whiffy in here, right? I was thinking we just open the window to at least help.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Carlos is going to move to because he knows Adok and Fibble are too short, so he's going to start opening windows. He's going to signal to Skatus and Amelia to do the same.
So yeah, if everyone reciprocates, you open the windows to let some air in. It's a pretty whiffy room. Adok says, "Well, I haven't seen anything anywhere that looks like it will hold 1,000 gold, so this is just as good a room as any. So let's have a look, yeah?"
Do the cats jump out the windows?
No, they seem to hang around. They don't seem to be going anywhere. So Adok is going to roll his investigation.
Carlos is going to just start fingering through bookshelves, just pulling books out and seeing what they
There
are.
are very few books at all on these shelves. Most of them are empty. There are maybe half a dozen books, if that.
Carlos is specifically looking for like recipes and stuff like that.
You find a book. Funnily enough, you find a book that it's a book of exotic recipes. You do find another one which looks like might be a biography of some random nobility. It doesn't sound like a noble person you've heard of, not in where you're from especially. It may be an old nobleman from here in Barovia. Kind of hard to tell. The book is old and the title's kind of half missing.
Does the recipe book, is it a thin book, a thick book? Is it quite?
It's a reasonably hefty tome.
And the biography, is that a similar size to the?
Yeah, a little bit bigger.
Carnos grabs like another couple of sheets of paper or something to try and make the book weights even and stuffs the extra paper into one, and then
No
puts
worries.
2 books in his pack.
Not a problem.
I want to kneel down to one of the cats and go, meow, and cats speak with animals and say, why are you guys, who kept you in here? Why are you in here?
This is our room. Get out.
Do you know the woman down the hall that is meowing like a cat? Is she one of you?
I don't know what you're talking about. Get out of our room.
Okay, these people don't know anything. We'll go.
Emily is going to try and shoo the cats out the window.
Make a persuasion check with advantage. So is anyone else going to look around the room with Adok?
This is the cat room, right?
This is the cat room. Yeah, it's a library. So there is books still on shelves. Carnos has looked around. I'll get you to make an investigation as well, Carnos, as you're going through the bookshelves. Emilia's persuasion check.
Nat 20, 22.
22. Yeah, eventually you manage to get all the cats out the windows. Reluctantly, some of them, but you manage to get them out.
Emily is going to giggle loudly and say, we're on the 2nd floor.
They were out on the box windows, and probably some of them went up on the roof. They're cats. They're not really they're not gonna jump. They'll be instinctive. So we got an 18 from Carnos, a 9 from Pibbles, 11 from Adok. Anyone else investigating, looking for potential items of worth?
Yeah.
Skatus with an 8. 9 from, oh my god.
Which is a nat 1, I might add.
Carlos says to Emily, don't worry, cats always land on their feet, and if there's one left, he just picks it up and biffs it out the window.
No, there was not one left. I'm pretty sure they would have got most of them. With that, though, as Adok is sort of searching around, Carnos, you move around the room and searching as you're looking for the books as well. You get to this area here in the bookshelves looking for your books, and where you picked up the exotic recipes book, you notice a book that is still standing in the shelf upright with another book leaning against it, but they both look newer and less tattered and nowhere near as dusty as all the other books.
I pick up both books to see, I try to grab them out of the shelf and see what they are.
As you go reach forward to grab both books, the one standing up comes out, but the one next to it stays leaning at an odd angle, which is kind of strange to you. And as you give it a wiggle, it seems fixed in its place.
Mr. Stibb, I have a strange anomaly here.
Yeah, what's your anomaly?
I might have to pick you up, is that all right?
Yeah, what's your anomaly?
Well, the anomaly, you're a pretty bright guy, but you struggle with a five-letter word.
No, I just like saying that.
Yeah, and it's 7, you didn't even pick up on that. Nonetheless, there's a book, and it's kind of stuck at an odd angle. I don't really, it's fixed here weirdly. Is it mechanical or magical? And then he sort of grabs you by your collar and picks you up.
Yank on it and see what happens.
So you pull it first, nothing happens. You move it from side to side, and as you stand it back up straight, you hear the mechanical works from behind the shelf move, the cogs turn, and then the shelf slides to one side, revealing another room behind.
Absolute genius, Mr. Stibb. I knew you'd figure it out. So was it magical or mechanical?
Mechanical.
It was mechanical.
So, yeah, I heard that it was mechanical. I was just Carlos asking.
Yeah, I know. I was being Fibble said with his mechanical.
Oh, my bad. Mr. Stibb, can I ask another question? I'm still holding him up, by the way.
Yeah, what?
Is this comfortable for you?
No, not really.
Okay, and I let him down again.
Adok's eyes light up at the the secret room, and he rushes forward and pushes between your legs, Karnos, to get into the room before you, holding his key up.
Luckily, he finds no resistance.
So there is a bunch of different things in this room. Another set of shelves. Behind the hinged panel on the bookcase lies a dusty 10-foot square room with curtained window and shelves lining through the walls. On the bottom shelf rests an iron chest. The other shelves are bare. Again, Adok's eyes light up, and you hear him like audibly go whoo-hoo, and heads for the chest. Grabs the key. Did you give him the key back? You did. So he takes the key out of his belt. And
Adok, wait.
What?
What if it's trapped? There's in a secret room. It's owned by a special.
But we got the key. Chances
Yeah,
are that if it's trapped, the key will render the trap useless. Would it not?
All right, and Karnos stands out of the room.
Adok sort of shrugs his shoulders and puts the key in, and turns the key and opens the lid. Nothing happens.
Karnos mutters under his breath as he walks out. I've been adventuring for a long time, and even keys sometimes set off traps. And he's still.
At this particular junction, the key does not set off any traps. He turns the key, and it opens the chest. And next thing you see is just things flying out the chest as he's sort of head down, bum up, feet just dangling off the floor just a little bit, and he's just tossing stuff out of the chest. And then you hear him sort of go, Eureka! And he turns and presents out, sort of walks out of the room and says, I found it. Moody with a sub. And he is holding in his hands a pouch, a silk bag, in fact, that, as upon opening it, holds 180 platinum pieces, which is the equivalent, for those that do not understand how platinum and gold works in D&D, to 1,800 gold pieces.
So, at the weird shout of Eureka,
Yep.
Karnos walks back in and says, right, so does everyone want me to hold the coin, or do you trust...
I think
Anna?
Karnos should hold it. We'll split it later.
Yeah. How much was that again?
180 platinum pieces. Adok's not too keen on giving it up. He's very hesitant to hand it over.
I let him keep 10 as I take it out of his hands if he allows me to take some.
He sort of looks at you, he looks at everyone else. He eventually gives it over.
Okay.
He's a little hesitant at first, but he does eventually give it over. And he dives back into the chest, and again you hear him muttering to himself under his breath, and in a language you guys don't understand it. He's just obviously in Goblin, and comes up with another small leather pouch. He goes, oh, opens that one and says, "Done some more." 110 gold pieces in this small leather pouch.
Sweet. I'll keep adding.
He also finds a wooden pipe. Looks pretty old. May have been something that's been handed down through the Wachter family for a while. It's handmade, but it's bone and wood. But it definitely looks pretty old. He sort of tosses that to one side. He finds some scrolls, and as he sort of unfurls them, looks like notarized deeds for parcels of land given to the Wachter family by Count Strahd von Zarevich. The weird thing, well, not the weird thing, but the thing about these parchments is the date. Currently, the year that you guys have entered into Barovia is 923. These are dated almost 400 years prior. There's also a supple leather case containing an unbound manuscript of some sorts. It's in common. The title reads, "The Devil We Know, a poetic manifesto written by at the bottom, Lady Fiona Wachter. And you sort of flip through the first few pages, and it's attesting to the worship of devils, how the worship of devils can bring happiness, success, freedom, wealth, and longevity. So that kind of gives Zadriel her confirmation that Lady Wachter was up to some shady bullshit. At the very bottom is a letter. Very old letter, kind of brittle, but as Adok says, he says, "Oh, this is old." It's a letter from to a Lady Lavina Wachter, from one Lord Vasily von Holtz, thanking Lavina for her hospitality, loyalty, and friendship over the years. Obviously, you don't know whether... We know that Lady Wachter, her name is Fiona. You would assume that Lavina could be a sister or maybe a mother. Not entirely sure. But it looks very, very old. And that is all you find in this room.
We're taking those parchments and everything, aren't we? Are we keeping them?
Well,
You guys
if
can
you
take
want.
what you want.
I
I want to
mean,
keep them.
if you think it'll help, why not?
Yeah, I just want to look them over later.
Zadriel, are you taking them?
I will take them.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, so you've got a leather case with manuscript. You've got the old letter. You've got the 5 scrolls, which are notarized deeds of land, and one more book that I forgot about is a book bound in black leather, titled "The Grimoire of the Four Quarters," which looks like it's the author looks from a person by the name of Devostas, Devostas. Roll religion, anyone who has proficiency in religion, to see if you recognize this name. Emilia with an 8, Zadriel with a 19. So Emilia, it's probably not familiar to you, but Zadriel, in your teachings as a paladin, you've probably come across the name Devostas. He is a diabolist. He was drawn and quartered for his fell practices, yet he did not die. And he is said to have written this grimoire. But looking at it, you've probably seen pictures of this, drawings of this particular grimoire, and you've heard of the power that it holds. Looking at it, you can tell it's probably not real. It's probably a forgery or a copy. There's no way that someone like Lady Wachter would have the original and not be able to deal with a few unwanted guests in her home if she had the power that book held. But it's still a very interesting looking book. It's definitely a dark looking book. It's got some pretty interesting looking graphic pentagrams and skulls and different depictions of demons and monsters and things in it. The writing's pretty dark, but that is all you find in this small room, and it's pretty much up to you what you do next.
Zadriel,
Yes.
those deeds that you found there, and DM, you said some of them were dated older than Strahd.
They were dated around 400 years. So, like I said, there were 5 scrolls that were deeds from parcels of land that had been gifted to the Wachter family from Strahd himself, and the date was 400 years prior.
Okay.
So your current date's 923, thereabouts, and the date that is on them is 423, 425-ish. So it's approximately 400 years prior.
Okay, yep. That makes me wonder, assuming we had a look at them, that makes me wonder, Zadriel, whether Lady Wachter had been in service for that long, or was it maybe passed down through her family? This house, their land, they still all own it? We could probably give that to the boys if you're feeling guilty.
Yes, I was just thinking of getting some proof together for the Baron in case, he wonders why we are doing what we are doing, so that we can show him. So Strahd has signed these papers.
They do bear his seal. It's not signed, but they bear a wax seal with the Castle Ravenloft R stamped in wax seal.
Okay, so there's no writing of Strahd on it, just a seal stamp with his
Oh,
name.
just a stamp, yeah.
Okay. Well, that will implicate
Adok, not Adok, Sybilstib, you have the Tome of Strahd, do you not? You were the first to read it. Upon seeing this letter and having it read out, and I need you to roll a perception check for me with advantage, please. $14. Look at that letter. Excuse me. The letter to Lady Lavinia, and your memories cast back to the book, the tome, that's supposedly written by Strahd himself. That handwriting looks very, very familiar.
I think Strahd's an old bastard.
I read the book out loud, didn't I?
You also read the book as well, so now that Fibble says something like that and he's looking at the letter, you take the letter and have a good look at it. And the letter that's written to Lady Lavinia, which you're not sure who that might be in relation to Lady Wachter, supposedly signed by Lord Vasily von Holt. The handwriting is very strikingly similar to the handwriting in the Tome of Strahd's diary.
I hold this up to Carnos and Skathus and Emilia, and I hold both. Well, I don't have the book. This is the same writing as in the book of Strahd. Vasily, I think, is Strahd.
Wait, Vasily is Strahd? What?
I mean, it wasn't Vasily having dinner with us, so how can he be Strahd?
But Vasily wanted those. Remember the casket maker? He said Vasily came and wanted the bones away from the church. No?
Yes.
And he
no,
can.
Yes.
Maybe it's a disguise or something?
Was
He can cast magic, can he not?
He's an alter ego.
Was Vasily not the one at dinner with us at Strahd's?
Yes.
And he
So-
wouldn't sleep on
but
the
they-
same
but
floor
they-
as us.
Yeah, but there are magics that you can use to alter people's forms. So
Did Strahd and Vasily, were they in the same room at the same time?
They were seated at the same table as you.
That's what I thought. This is confusing to me.
Emilia, do you have things that can make things appear that aren't there? Like a disguise.
Adok has illusionary spells.
Oh yeah, I do.
Sweet.
Hang on a moment. Let me just check my spell book. Sort of rummages through his stuff and says, "Well, I got this," and he casts, pulls out his flute, his handmade flute blowgun, plays a few notes, and an image appears next to him of himself, just standing there. Doesn't do or say anything. I mean, it moves. He's made it move, but it doesn't say anything. But I mean, I'm not as powerful as some people with magic, but I can do that. Strange.
Is the letter from Vasily dated? No, it doesn't have a date.
There's no date on the letter from Vasily, but the paper itself, it looks very, very old. It's kind of hard to determine. I suppose you as a paladin, roll a history check for me. Would it be history or intelligence? We'll make it history.
9.
9, yeah. You're not able to determine how old it is. It's definitely old. I mean, the parchment looks old. It is starting to get brittle around the edges. It has started to grey in colour. So it's definitely old. Could be 10 years old. Could be 1,000 years old. I'm not sure. With that roll, it's not 100%.
I say we keep it to ourselves and find out who Levina is. Maybe.
Well, for all we know, Vasily might have an ancient ancestor has the same name, and Levina could be Strahd's great ancestor as well.
True. We keep it to ourselves until we find out more.
So, do you wish to continue the search of the upper floor? You've got a couple more doors to search before you probably more or less completely search the house.
Yeah, go through everything.
Okay, so you go to the next room, which will be the room across from where Cat Lady is. Which will be this room here, when I find it on my list of things. Did I put this room in thing? I did. Here it is. So, ladies and Germanies, we find ourselves room O. Thing. So, you walk back across the hallway and attempt to open this next doorway. It is locked, but the keyhole on this looks very, very similar to the key that was found on the cat. So who did Adok give that to?
I think he kept it.
I think Adok kept it. So you let Adok know that this. He sort of says, "Oh," and he just hands it over to whoever's in front. So whether it be who would be in the front, Karnos, Zadriel, one of the taller people anyway.
Karnos would always be following someone, so not Karnos.
So Zadriel, he hands the key to you.
Okay, I'll open the door.
And as you swing the door open, across from the door, a fire sputters and struggles for life in the hearth, above which hangs a framed family portrait, a noble father and a mother, their 2 sons, and a baby daughter in the father's arms. The sons are smiling in a way that suggests mischief. The parents look like uncrowned royalty. Wood paneling covers the walls of the room, a closet, and a framed mirror flank the curtained window to the south. To the north, a wide canopied bed lies pinned between matching end tables with oil lamps. Stretched out on one side of the bed is a man, dressed in black, his eyes each covered with a copper piece. He bears striking resemblance to the father in the painting.
Oh. So I guess we noticed the dead body first on the bed.
He definitely is unmoving. You're not entirely sure whether he's dead at this point, but it does have copper pennies on his eyes, which would definitely suggest so. But he doesn't really look dead. He's not decomposing. Doesn't smell.
2 fingers on the neck. Is he have a pulse?
Roll a medicine check for me, please.
Ugh.
That
19.
19. So this is what you see in that room, and yeah, he is quite dead. He is cold to the touch. His skin is still very malleable. Like it's not like it's weird. Again, roll a Arcana check. All those that are proficient with magics, roll Arcana. So that would be Emilia, Zadriel, Fibblestib, and Adok. I'll roll Adok's in a shortly. I'll roll it now before I forget.
Adok, just before you run and loot the body, just be careful
Oi.
of traps.
I do have some respect for the dead, you know.
Yeah. No, I said loot. Loot the body, not root. I don't want you to do that.
Carnos.
He just whatever, and he just walks away from you. You see just the look of like he's got no words. So we got Arcana Philson with an 8, Zadriel with a 10, Adok with a 14, and Emilia with a 21. So 10 would have done it. So those are 10 and over. Zadriel, Emilia, and Adok, you know that a spell by the name of Gentle Repose is enough to stop the decaying process of a dead body. The clothes he is wearing are impeccable. He is well dressed. The wardrobe itself, you can see it's hanging open, has shelves of fancy footwear and many fine garments, including a black ceremonial robe and hood, similar to what the cultists were wearing downstairs. On a high shelf rests a locked iron chest, which is too high for Adok to see, otherwise he would have been running at it right now.
Didn't she say her husband was dead for many years? Has she been keeping him like this in the bed? And none of the sons knew about it or anything?
It's possible she might be a little randy like our Emilia.
Oh.
Adok's giving him a real quizzical look to him, and yeah, his thoughts is like, why would you say that? Oh, that's gross.
Also,
I worry about you, Carnos. I really do.
Yeah.
Baby in the dress, could that be the girl in the room? Maybe they never mentioned when we were wooing them they had a sister or anything.
Looking at the painting, although younger, you can definitely tell Nikolai and Carl. And looking closely at the baby, not 100%, you couldn't tell 100% from the painting whether it's her or not, but you would get the impression that's probably who it is.
There's no... Go ahead.
Sorry, why would they do that to the sister if that's their sister? What's the point of that? Well, that's her daughter. Why is she... Makes no sense.
She is not a very nice woman.
Cats.
Maybe a punishment, a temporary lockup or something, or maybe someone did it to her and she couldn't cure it.
Emilia looks at the potion and says, "The baby will look really good as a ginger."
Yuck.
There's no nameplate under the, they big portraits sometimes have nameplates under of who.
No names. You can definitely see that the man lying in the bed is definitely the man in the picture, and looking at the woman, you can tell that's definitely Lady Wachter. She's younger, definitely, but it's definitely her.
Carnos eyes the chest that Adok can't see, or lockbox or whatever it was,
yep.
And sort of makes eyes to Skathis just to look up there.
Yeah, it's a lockbox. What are you talking about? It's
Lockbox? Someone say lockbox.
Oh.
I was trying to be subtle, Skathis, but obviously
You trying to hide
subtlety
stuff from
is
me?
not your thing.
Oh, good.
Carlos just gets it down and brings it over to Fibbleston.
Oi, what about... Oh, that's just so unfair.
He trusts me more than you. Like,
Well,
what am I
clearly...
doing with this shit?
Yeah, if you can open it, maybe check it for traps. Adok, I gave you 10 platinum before when we grabbed that lot, and everyone here, and Carlos goes around and hands everyone 10 gold, and he says, if you need any more, let me know. This is just, we've got to take our payments, so everyone take 10 gold.
Thank you, Carlos.
I hand it back.
Yeah, same here. I go, I'm good at the moment.
Okay, so I hand out 10, 20, 30 gold only.
So you're trying to attempt the lock, which fails miserably.
This roller fucking hates me tonight.
Unfortunately for Fibbleston, as you attempt to manipulate the lock of this chest, you hear a clicking sound, and then you hear a hissing sound. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
Am I close enough? Because I was standing right there and handing it to him. Would I have to do the same?
Actually, yeah, you probably would. Anyone within 10 feet of this chest, so Adok probably would have to make it too. It's definitely
Con save, you said?
Yeah, con save.
Yeah, I got a 9 because this roller really hates me at this moment.
Yeah, Karnos, you're cool. Adok is okay. Just unfortunately, Fibbleston, you missed by 1 on the DC. It was only DC 10. But Fibbleston, this gas that escapes the chest and squirts out into the room. Karnos and Adok both coughing with as it hits the back of the throat. You start to cough also, and suddenly Fibbleston collapses unconscious on the floor.
Ugh. Jesus, Adok, that's the worst one you've done yet.
That wasn't me.
What? Mr. Stubber's down.
Bibble is I don't think he's sleeping.
Oh crap!
I
I was busy examining the painting too long.
Shit.
notice.
Hang on a minute. I'll go check my stuff.
Emilia, this is your time to shine.
Emily is going to walk over to Fibbleston and cast protection from poison, which is a touch.
You walk over to him and you. Does protection from poison remove poison, or does it just protect someone from poison?
If he's poisoned, you neutralize the poison.
Okay. So, with that, you reach over, you touch him, you cast a spell. Nothing happens. He remains unconscious.
I'm going to go rush over and lay on hands for 10 HP, but 5 kills the disease, neutralize the poison for healing.
Again, you cast a spell, it takes effect, but he remains unconscious.
Karnos bends over and just puts his head up and goes slap, slap, slap on his cheeks.
And still no response. He is breathing. It doesn't look like he's taken any damage, but he is unconscious.
If only Mirabelle was here, she would say something like, "Quick, put a hat on him and get a fishing rod."
But with that though, as he fell unconscious, the lid of the lockbox popped open about an inch. So it is open and unlocked.
Okay. Am I still? Me and Edok still closest?
Yeah.
I'll just peer inside.
It seems like it's lined with a heavier metal, like it's an iron. It's a cast chest, so it's an iron chest on the outside, but the inside is lined with darker. And it was quite heavy when you picked it up. And when you open it and see what's inside it, you think, well, it shouldn't be that heavy. So, knowing your knowledge of metals with armor and things like that, you get the impression it might be lead or something heavy. But you see inside is a pile of bones. Looks like an entire skeleton.
Oh, it's quite a big box.
It's a reasonable size it's like a footlocker. It looks like an entire skeleton, which is unusual for one.
Humanoid?
Definitely human. Looking a little bit closer, you do see there is something underneath the bones. Like it looks like there's paperwork and maybe some cloth of some sort.
Carlos doesn't touch it. He says, I don't know, one of you guys, Scathus, Amelia, Zadriel, I don't know what's wrong with Mr. Stibb, but there's some bones in here of a person, and there's some stuff underneath it.
So Adok will throw up a detect magic, which it takes. He says, if you give us 10 minutes, I can see if it's magical.
Gonna be propping up Feeble and talking to him like, Feeble, wake up.
Yeah, Carlos would aid her at this point. Adok, while you got that detect magic-y thing going, can you see if it's magic-y stuff on Mr. Fibble as well?
It will light up this whole room. Like it's quite a big area.
All right, thank you.
Maybe there's something in the papers in there or something.
Do you want me to check, or do you want Scathus to do it? Scathus, is that your bag? Your warehouse? Your skill set?
What's that?
Checking lockboxes after it's knocked Mr. Stibb out.
No, I'm more in your face, knock you out type.
Right. Emilia, do you want to have a look and see what you think? You are all good with dead things, right?
Emily is still sort of concerned about Jesus. Fibble still.
Concerned about Jesus. Fair enough.
Yeah, concerned about Jesus. Just sort of wondering if her lesser restoration will do anything better than the protection of poison. I guess.
Adok sort of looks at the box. After 10 minutes, the spell ignites. Is not showing up as magical. Seems to be all right.
Emily, are you casting restoration before I go over?
Yeah, I'll cast this restoration on Fibble, trying to unkill him. Unpass him out.
Unpass him out. What does lesser restoration do specifically?
You touch a creature and it ends one disease or condition afflicting it. It can either be blinded, deafened, paralyzed, or poisoned.
So you release the spell, and again nothing happens. He remains unconscious.
Karnos goes over to the footlocker and with the back of his axe moves the bones aside and then sort of pulls whatever's under the bones, trying not to touch the bones out.
Okay, so after a little while you manage to get the piece of cloth out, and it is a banner from Castle Ravenloft.
Seems to be a banner from Castle Ravenloft.
Maybe that has to do with the bones in there.
You think whoever's dead in here was from the castle?
I don't know, but Feeble's not doing so good. Maybe we just leave that there and keep looking for maybe a scroll of some kind.
Okay, Mr. Stibb is all right. He's alive, right?
He's
Yes,
alive.
but he's not waking up.
He's not waking up. Okay. Is Adriel? I mean, you've taken his pulse. He's not feverish. He's not slowed pulse. Nothing like that.
He seems to be sleeping, for all intents and purposes.
All right. You want the rest of us to search the room for something to help?
If you can. And I'm going to pray to the DM for guidance while they do that. Just
Okay.
muttering prayers.
No problem. So, as the rest of you look around the room, investigations, please.
Investigation. Pow.
Adok with a 21, Emily with a
Oh.
17, Skathis with a 6, Carnos with a 9. And
I'm just going to hold Fibble.
Fibble can't do anything. So and Zadriel's not going to do it because he's looking after Fibble. So with those collective rolls, Adok looks around the room. You all look around the room. Eventually, Adok can't help himself. He just reaches in and pulls out the few pieces of parchment that are under these bones. And nothing happens. The bones sort of clatter around and he picks it up. And one of its, the top sheet has a name in the top, Leo DeSilna. And it states that these, basically as he reads through it, it states that the bones are from a soldier by the name of Leo Dilisna. Dilisna. He was one of Strahd's guards, one of his personal guards. And on the day of Sergei's and Tatiana's wedding, he murdered Strahd and then escaped the castle, only to be hunted down by the vampire Strahd and killed. This letter looks like it was maybe in Lady Wachters' hand. It's hard to tell, but states on the bottom that the Wachters are the keepers of these bones to ensure that he cannot be resurrected.
Did Adok read that out?
He read that out loud, yeah.
We need to resurrect this man.
We do. We take the box with us? We have to.
Now, Zadriel, you and possibly Emilia would be the only ones that would understand how resurrection works. You know that you do not have a powerful enough spell. Emilia would know the same thing, that this person has obviously been dead for a long, long time. So it's going to take a very, very powerful resurrection spell to bring him back. Something that is well out of your capabilities at this point. It could be done, but it would take someone very powerful.
I'm not experienced in this. Maybe we take it to the church after we're done.
All right. I don't think carrying around a lockbox is going to help us, but maybe I'll wrap these up and look around. I can see there's blankets on the bed. I might use one of the nice blankets, just sort of, the old tablecloth trick from under the body, and then fold the bones up and
roll a dexterity check for me. See how good Carnos is at removing the blanket without spilling the body on the floor. Apparently really good. As Carnos, he grabs the blanket, he really plants his feet, reads himself, and then just goes, and the body barely even moves.
That is so impressive, Carnos.
Yeah, my years of heroin, I've learned a few things. There was this one time, right? I was in this big cave, and I had a pedestal in the middle. I'd done all these like puzzles and things, and then I got to the end, and on the pedestal was a tablecloth and a giant gem, right? And I had to remove the cloth from under the gem without disturbing the gem for the last piece of the puzzle. And I practiced and practiced because I knew it had to be done. So I practiced and practiced and practiced. And it's just something that comes in handy now and then.
You could be a bard. Oh, wow.
Why would I be a bard? I
He
can't.
don't
play
have the
him.
voice to be a bard.
Yeah, definitely. No, Adoc's
It's
right.
it's a bit grabbly.
Bards kind of like, adventurers that kind of didn't make it in the first place, right?
Oi. Yeah, I'm not even going to go there.
No, Adoc, I think
Not
you playing
even.
your broken flute is lovely.
No, that's a musician. That's not a bard.
What is a bard?
A bard's like
Garnos.
the guy who follows heroes around and tells all their stories and what they do. That's a bard. So you could be. I mean, if you want to be a bard, you can hang out and tell the stories of how awesome we are. That'd be wonderful. But you're a musician, right? You play that thing lovely.
You can see the look of confusion on his face. He's stumped. He's not sure whether it was a compliment or whether it was a stab at him. He's confused all to hell, and he just sort of just gives up and just walks away.
All the above.
Emily is going to say that dude's apparently been dead for many years, and he's been getting more than I've been getting, so I'd be careful with stains on that blanket.
Emily!
Carnos is laughing to himself as he's wrapping the bones up, and he's been pretty careful about it. I try to stack them as best I can.
Yeah, I mean they're not attached anymore. Like it's definitely been placed in the box in a way that it sort of bones on top of bones on top of bones. So you can go through and eventually get all the bones, wrap them up, and it'd fit in your backpack. It wouldn't weigh a whole lot. It is nothing more than a skeleton.
Carnos centralizes all the bones that don't have peers, and then he puts all the other bones that have a peer or a partner on either side of it, and he wraps it up as evenly weighted as he can before he puts it in his bag.
No problem, duly noted. So, with that, what are you guys planning on doing? Time to leave?
I'm going to pick up Feeble and carry him like a small child.
Which would be easy enough to do. Who are you handing Charlotte to? I don't think you'd be able to pick him up and Charlotte at the same time.
As I pick him up, I kind of tilt my head towards Charlotte and I say, Skatus, can you grab that for me?
I pick it up.
Right. So, as you guys collect your things and your fallen companion, what are your plans? Just to leave the house, head back to the Blue Water Inn? At this point?
I think we should go to the church.
Yes, drop it off first thing.
And maybe see if they can heal Mr. Stubb too. I'm worried for him now.
And what's her name up there?
Oh, Catwoman, yeah.
Let's go there.
Yep,
so,
to the church.
You leave and start heading. Eventually, you find your way out of the house. None of the other servants appear to be in the house, just the two that you encountered. Magdalena and Amalthea. You seem to have believed you have dealt with them accordingly.
Sorry, Dean.
Yep.
The name of that character, Leo DeLisner?
Leo DeLisner.
Leo, is it?
Leo DeLisner. So DILLISNYA. Listener.
Okay, sweet. I got roughly a version of that. That's fine. And as we were heading out of the house, just because there was a couple of rooms we saw on the first visit with Lady Wachter, Carnos just wants to be glancing around, seeing if there's any sort of weaponry on the walls or anything that we may have missed the first time through.
Doesn't really look like it. Like any weaponry that you had seen was on Ernest, which was nothing more than a dagger. You get the impression that they weren't overly heavily armed. Maybe you might have found a longsword potentially in one of the boys' rooms, but they'd be more ceremonial than practical.
No, that's right. I was just sort of thinking in the lounge area or whatever, but that's cool. No, nothing there. Excellent.
While we're walking and talking, Emily is going to hand the empty flask that she got from Carlos back to Carlos.
Okay.
And say, you'll have to get it refilled. I used it to seal portal down in the basement.
Okay. All right. And Kanos kind of looks at his pack and trying to figure out where to evenly put it on his body now that it's empty. It doesn't weigh this. It doesn't weigh what it. He's confused.
I can hold it for you if you want.
Thank you.
I can hold on to it, or if you want to be balanced, I've got my empty one as well. So you can hold it on each side.
Yeah, that could work. Just 2 empty ones. I can fill them later. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Problem solved.
2 empty vials.
So with that, you eventually exit the house. As you enter out onto the street, it is getting fairly late in the evening. You have been there for a reasonable amount of time searching the house, and I'm assuming you close the door and leave it roughly as you'd found it. Eventually, without too much hassle or recourse, you make it back towards the Blue Water Inn, heading towards the church. As you cross town, you're about to enter the church, and Zadriel, you sort of momentarily look down at Fibblesib, and he's just looking up at you, eyes open, conscious.
Fibble, wait, have you been hitching a ride?
Been awake for about 5 minutes.
Fibble?
Yes.
Oh, good. You can talk. What happened to you?
You don't. The last thing you remember is the puff of gas in your face, and everything else. Obviously, after that, you were unconscious.
I don't know. The puff of smoke stuff, and then looking at you.
And they squeeze him. Oh!
God, that's tight.
I get the impression he's like a squirming 4-year-old that doesn't want to be hugged and just trying to wriggle out of your arms at this point.
No, it's just hurting.
Oh, sorry. You okay? Are you okay? Do you have any symptoms? How many fingers am I holding up? How many?
Once you stop moving them around, I'll tell you.
How many?
It's 1.
Oh, good.
With that, you have a bit of a headache. Definitely, you got a bit of a dry throat. You're not entirely sure what the gas was. Don't feel hurt at all. You would. I mean, your understanding of tinkering and certain things of this nature, it was probably just something that just rendered you unconscious or whatever. I mean, it definitely didn't cause any damage. But it doesn't seem to have had any lasting effects either. One thing you do notice as you sit down is you don't have Charlotte. As you peer around, Skathis is holding it, and I would assume that he's holding it completely wrong. Having no idea how to hold a firearm in the first place.
It's okay, it's unloaded anyway, so it's not going to go off and blow his face off.
It'd probably be butt to the air, nozzle to the ground, using it as a walking stick.
I would probably imagine so, yes.
I'm in big trouble.
If you've damaged it, I'm gonna find another use for it shortly.
Do you hand Charlotte back to Fibblesib at this point?
Yep.
You can check it out. It doesn't appear to be damaged. A little bit of dirt in the barrel, but apart from that, it hasn't done any damage to it.
I'm gonna cast mending on it anyway.
Any minor damage that was there is now mended.
Yeah, and then clean it up and go. You just arrogant.
Yeah, Adok's sort of looking at you, looking at Skathis, looks at Skathis, shakes his head a bit, and says, "Poor folk." Carries on walking. So, with that, by this stage, as you enter the church, there is only a few people in the church, not too many. It's quite late. But Father Lucian is there, as he normally always is. He's generally not too far away. He looks like he's getting ready to turn in for the evening, as he's trying to figure out, sort of sort these few people here and find them somewhere to sleep for the night. The people that generally, they're either too afraid to sleep in their own homes or have no home to go to, and he's finding them a place to put their heads for the night in the church. He sort of looks up as he hears the doors, and oh, welcome, come in. Good to see you all again. Bismarck is up with his sister, and she is doing better. She is looking much better. Is there anything you need?
There's a lot to take in. So prioritizing it is, there is a woman trapped in Lady Wachters' home with straps on the bed.
A woman, you say?
Yes, and she is... I tried to cast a restoration spell, but mine are very weak. We need to help her. There was something, some kind of something on her that's making her think she is a cat.
And you see, he sort of blinks and he says, about how old would you say she is?
I think about the picture and I think of what she looks like and I guess how old she is and I say it because I'm not sure.
Late teens, you would imagine.
Younger late teenager, probably younger than the boys.
Well, it could be Stella, possibly. Stella Wachter, Lady Wachter's daughter. Potentially, she died several years ago, in fact. Say that he thinks she's a cat.
She was scratching and meowing and calling herself Kitty, and I tried the restoration, and for a brief moment,
what were you doing in the Wachter's house? Was Lady Wachter not there?
And then I'm going to explain what we found in the basement with the pentagram and the cultists, and
he sort of sits down and takes a heavy he sits down, takes a heavy breath and says, do you tell him that you guys have dispatched the cultists?
Yes.
And Lady Wachter?
I might leave that out for someone else to fill in.
He says, and in that case, he would turn around and say, well, and where was Lady Wachter in all this? I mean, this is her home. Surely she would know what is going on under her roof.
She came in at the last minute and tried to kill us, so we dispatched her.
And you say that this girl is... Right. Okay. Should bring her to the church. I will see what I can do. She is safe for the time being. Probably best to do it tomorrow. If Lady Wachter is no more. Have you told the city guard?
Well, we rushed here first to see if you could do anything. Also, there is a butler of a servant that still lives away from home, and he does not know.
David.
Yes. So.
Of course, this is going to be. And Nikolai and Karl, were they there?
They are in jail for drunken disorderly.
Makes sense. They'd spend their time often. But how are you going to explain this to them?
Well, I was hoping now that you've said she might be their sister, I was hoping the return of their sister would help. How do they think she died?
I am not sure. Possible. I mean, we all thought she was dead. So I assume that they did. I mean, obviously, do they have any idea that their mother was dealing with the black arts at all? I mean, always a lot. That's a lot to take in.
Also, there's a dead husband of hers in her bed.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
would you like some wine? I have some wine for you.
Yes. Yes, please. Oh my God.
Carnos is looking around for the holy water fonts. Is there any of those around?
There is one. There is one. Yeah. There's a.
Carnos sort of nods at the priest and he holds up the two little vials that Emily gave him, and he's just filling them in the font.
Also, there is the dead bones of the man that killed Strahd we have brought for you to resurrect. You might want to sit down.
What?
You might want to sit down.
And do you hand him the wine? He takes a big gulp of wine and he says, Bones, I know a bit about the legend of Strahd. They say his most trusted guard on the night of the wedding of his brother and bride Tatiana, Strahd, that was the night that Strahd made a pact with Shadowfell, murdered his brother. Written that Tatiana then threw herself to her death from the castle wall. Her body was never found, however. Then, what was it? Delisnia, that is right. Leo Delisnia was the guard that led the revolt against Strahd, and they took up arms again. Apparently killed him.
Yeah, show him the if I have the letter, Adok might have the letter.
I think all the paperwork went to you.
About Delisnia, I show it to him.
And he sort of quickly reads through it and he says, this makes sense. And you have all the bonds?
Yes.
They are all there?
Yes.
Unfortunately, I do not have the power to resurrect someone who has been dead for that long. But there may be someone in Rofia that might. I'll go through my notes and my things. There's one or two other clerics and priests, even a paladin that still lives here somewhere. They have gone underground, but they may be able to help. I cannot guarantee. But if you wish to leave the bonds here, they will be safe from Strahd, as the Senandral bonds have been returned, are protected. Strahd will not get his hand.
Carlos looks to Zadriel, then he looks to Fibble, and he's like, do you think it's a good idea we relinquish the bones here?
It is, of course, up to you, but...
What else are we going to do with them?
Strahd cannot come in here.
Is that true? Can he not come in here, Mr. Priest?
Not with the bones returned, no. We are protected from all evil.
That's good. Right. And you did say before that Vasily doesn't come inside, but he donates to the church and stuff?
Vasily has donated regularly to the church, but no, he does not believe Senandral, which is fine. Not everyone does. Everyone has a right to their own religion.
Do you know who a Lavina Wachter is?
Yes, that is Lady Wachter's great-grandmother.
Oh.
Why do you ask?
I show him the letter Vasily wrote to Lavina.
He reads through it, and you can see that look of not confusion, but just stress and worry.
I pour another drink of wine for him.
And as he takes it, his hand's visibly shaking, and he takes another big gulp to steady his nerves, and you can see he's visibly worried. He doesn't really say much else at this point. He reads through it, he hands it back to you, and the look on his face is like, I really need to think on this. If you wish to leave the bones, the Sultan's bones here, then they will be safe. But if you do not, that is up to you. But I need rest. Much to think about, and organize in the morning to make sure that we find out if indeed this girl is Stella Wachter. What we can do to help her.
I believe we should leave the bones here.
Adok to me and says, well, what we're going to do with them, right? I mean, priest will take care of the bones. I mean, we brought other bones to him, so why not these ones?
I don't like it, but we can't exactly carry them around with us.
I don't love it either, because if we happen to get, and I know we're on good terms with the Baron right now, but if we happen to do one thing wrong and get banned from town, we have no access back to these bones.
Are we able to
But
carry them?
if we get banned from the town, we'll lose everything anyway.
Let me put your mind at ease. I am told you are aware of Erwin Matkov and his affliction.
Yeah.
They are allies of mine. I've been working with Were Ravens for some time. If you are banished from Vallaki, they will get you your things. They will be able to return them to you and the bones. Much I pledge.
Well, that sounds fair. Is Adriel, you happy with that?
If you are enemies of Strahd, you are allies of mine and of the Were Ravens.
And of the Baron, actually. So.
And the
Yeah.
Baron. The Baron definitely opposes Strahd. He is a
Carnos
strange man, but his heart is in the right place.
opens his pack and the bones he's bundled up real carefully and tidily. He brings out and he's sort of holds them forward and he says to the priest, "Just be real careful because this is a magic blanket. Okay, I pulled it out real easy from under a dead body."
He looks at you and just he smiles contently and he takes those out and he does sort of give you a look as if to say, well done on the packing of the bones. So obviously it looks like you've done it with respect and care, even though it's just for your own needs. It does look like you've done it respectfully and carefully, so he acknowledges that fact and bows to you. Like gives you a slight head bow.
Cool.
And Fibble, what did you say?
Come from?
Fibble hasn't seen them because he was unconscious.
Oh yeah, sorry, Mr. Fibble. So you missed a spectacular, well, just a normal everyday event for me, but a spectacular event for all of your friends.
It's okay, Carnos. You don't need to carry on. We'll explain more.
Oh, you tell it in your way. That's fine. But maybe we should let Adok, because he's practicing to be a bard. Adok, tell us the greatest story about the removal of the blanket from under the dead man in the bardic way.
While this is happening, I turn to Fibble and just say, he just pulled a blanket from under a body. It's all good.
Limpy pulled
What?
blanket from under dead guy. The end.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Father Lucian, we would like to speak to the girl if you bring her back here, or when she's...
Well, if we can help her and she is coherent, I mean, I'm sure everyone would like to find out what happened.
Yeah, so...
As I said, she's supposedly been dead for...
How late is it? Is it very, very late?
It's getting really late. Like, it's probably on midnight-ish.
I say we go home to the inn and tell the Baron what we found in the morning, so that, there's going to be lots of bodies to explain. Or an absence of bodies.
Maybe we leave a message with the guard overnight that we need to see him urgently in the morning, so that it doesn't suddenly get to message to him, and then he goes, yeah.
That's true, let's do that. And
That's probably a good idea, considering what happened last time.
News travels fast here, right?
And with that, Lucian says good evening to you all. May St. Andrew be with you. And turns and takes the bundle of bones to his quarters. And eventually you guys make your way out and you head out. You do find a patrol on your way back to the Blue Water Inn. You give them your message. They inform you that they will inform the Baron as soon as they are able that you wish an audience with him. So they basically say to you, you come to the Baron's home not too early, but sometime in the morning. They will be expecting you. You return to the Blue Water Inn, make your way to your rooms. Emily to your own room if you wish, or with the rest of the group, it is up to you. Unless there is anything you wish to do for the evening, we'll call our session.
Emily will retire to her own room.
Yeah, I think we're good.
And Philsip.
Whose bones were they?
They were the bones of a great and wondrous guard who, it looks like, according to the books that Zadriel collected, killed Strahd initially.
Yeah, I'll show you the letter when we get the room.
He's alive. So, what?
Well, he's killed him and now he's undead, basically. You know how it goes.
Yeah, he gave him the real death, and now we're going to give him the final death.
I think we need to give people a medicine check. We might have lingering issues.
Roll medicine check.
I think he's actually shorter than he was before.
Whoop!
21.
Yeah, and his eyebrow keeps going up.
He seems okay. Like he's a little confused about the bones and the events that he obviously wasn't privy to, the letter and things like the letter about the bones. But otherwise, he seems fine.
All right.
It's understandable confusion, is what he's suffering.
Heading to bed.
So with that, we will call our session there, guys. Again, chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us for another Curse of Strahd. We have enjoyed bringing this story to you, and well done, players, once again, for your roleplay and your battles, and avoiding of battles even. The improvisation with the maids was fucking interesting. So with that, let's go around our panel of players and get some moments from this evening's game. So we'll start with Mr. Fiddlestib tonight.
I think the dice roller needs to be mentioned.
Yeah, you got boned more than Emily.
Definitely.
That thing just fucking hated me today. I couldn't
It
get
was-
anything above a 5.
you did pretty badly tonight. It was pretty rough.
I don't like that roller. D&D Beyond, fix your shit. I did enjoy having a slight nap. That was quite enjoyable.
Light nap, you say?
Yeah, Emilia's use of cantrips and abusing the shit out of them again. They're always enjoyable.
I think that the use of the cantrips is always going to be interesting. I think.
Yeah.
Pushing them to their limits. I think that's awesome.
I must admit, Drax does do a good job of coming up with weird and unique ways of using the cantrip. And I'd like to see him do a warlock, because the abuse that he could do with one of them would
the warlock cantrips would be amazing to fuck around with.
Insane. Outside of that, I'll leave stuff for other people.
Emilia, jump to you next.
I'll go couple. Well, the kitty scratching Carnos. Pretty funny. And then the suggestion of the cat-to-cat conversation was pretty funny too.
It had to happen. I was expecting it.
The suggestion of using the cat for boots?
Yes, yes, Puss in Boots. Someone had to do it.
I think Zadriel said they were souls.
They're little souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have the boots.
Carlos blaming the poison spray as adult farting. That cracked me up.
That was always going to be a thing, I reckon. So next up we'll have skaters.
The aftermath of the gassing and the carrying on the shoulder, and Fibble waking up.
Oh, with the firearm, yes. Using Charlotte as a walking stick.
And the shock with the priest.
Yes, it was a lot for him to take in, poor fellow. And Zedriel.
I like the walking stick, and I liked the cat blowing up, even though Zadra did it. And I liked the pouring of the beer over the servants to kind of cover
now
up our
my
mess.
computer decides to have a phone. Oh no, it's back again. Whew, lucky. But yes, no, they were all good moments, definitely. And Carlos, some moments from you, please.
I've got so much written down here. For me, Emily crying over Lady Wachter and calling her mum. I know the characters didn't hear any of that, but for me, that was like, what is she up to? Zadriel's speak with animals caught me by surprise when she went to talk to the cats, and she went, I say meow, and I was like cracking up in my chair, laughing out loud. I had the mute on, and then she says, oh, and I can't speak with animals. I was like, oh, right, that's right, she can actually speak with animals. My favorite, and I've got a couple others here, but I think it's been covered by the others, but my favorite is Fibble, and it's always Fibble starting his sentence with, anyone will say anything, the DM, a player, and Fibble goes, giant pause, or it's a giant pause and yes, before he says anything. Every time, you can guarantee it. It's just about...
I have noticed that. That is amazing.
It's a perfect character trait. I absolutely love it. So, yeah.
Yes, and for me tonight it was everything. I mean, the Emilia dealing, the cantrips, of course. Emilia dealing with the shape water and doing the ritual and stuff like that. The interaction with the cat lady, kind of trying to calm her down and getting swiped in the face, as a cat would probably do. But yeah, just the probably the one moment that stood out for me was Zadriel's face at the letter to Lavina from Vasily. It was like light bulb, ding. It was a moment, because I know Zadriel had her suspicions about Vasily already. So again, I think that was just another nail in the coffin for Vasily, so to speak. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next interaction, if and when that occurs, with one Vasily Van Holt. I think he's got a little bit of explaining to do. But anywho, that is us for the night, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We saw some faces in there with Era, we got Grim, we had Magic, all the usual suspects tonight. Glad you guys could stop by. We had Era with the host and raid, Dead Aussie Gamer with the follow as well, Moody with a sub, 4 months with Prime. Thank you very much, Moody, appreciate it. You are the man. Hope your morning's going well. Then I think that was about it. That's it. So we're gonna raid. I don't know if we should raid these guys or not. These guys are doing a podcast of Strahd, by the looks of it. So whether they're actually playing Strahd, I'm not entirely sure. So it's a live recording of they're calling it in Strahd We Trust. So I'm assuming it is a Strahd episode, but they're doing it as a podcast. That's doing the live recording on it. We'll go raid them. So I will be back again. What's tomorrow? Thursday? No, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday. So I'll probably be back tomorrow night. Probably doing some Ark tomorrow night. My castle's almost complete. We've got to show it off. And we can probably, if Era and that are around, I think Era said we could do a tour of his house as well. A couple of viewers asked about it last time we streamed, and other things and stuff. I got some taming I want to do now that my house is finished.
We've got to have a look at your aunties as well.
Yes, we can do a tour of Yanti's. We did it on Yanti's stream the other day, so we can do another one on.
Do Sadiq as well.
Oh, Sadiq's house is too big. No.
It is actually a little bit. Big.
No, we can do it.
I've still got to decorate the bloody thing.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm up to now is the interior. We can do a tour of everyone's houses if it comes down to it. Trashy's house is pretty sparse. I didn't think it got a roof on it yet.
No.
Or one of the walls isn't finished. Or did you finish that?
I've got the walls up. There's no roof though. But I'm finally got the cliffside pet thing out now, so
cool.
Expanding out to that.
Any hole guys?
I'm just updating the rule set. So
no, cool.
Oh, this should be fun.
Well, no, it's pretty interesting. You'll see.
So we will leave it at that. I will see you tomorrow night about 7:30-ish New Zealand Standard Time for some Ark. Thank you so much, everyone. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.